Tonight is also riding in that Grand Prix, so he can't be in two places at once on the restaging date. The official restaging date here for this meeting is tomorrow, so that would have to be, you would think, a morning or a noon meeting, and the problem with that is the forecast for tomorrow morning is not great either. So we're going tonight, and the riders are coming on track for Heat 1, only about 5 minutes behind schedule. The rain that we have had most recently has begun to ease. That's good news, and let's hope that this track rides well enough to put on a spectacle and get a safe and fair meeting for these boys. Heat number 1 will see Dominic Kubera riding in red, Alexander Brentin goes in blue, Jack Holder rides in white, and the wild card Michael Hartel rides in yellow. A reminder of the format here, it's Grand Prix format, 20 heats, assuming we get that far, we hope we do, and then top 8 into semi-finals, top 2 from each semi-final go into the final, and all the points throughout the evening count towards the total. And with 21 points on the board so far, Sam, Maxim Drabic comes here very much in control, but must be a bit of a fear of the unknown here.
Yeah, it's a bit of his to lose, really, but you mentioned this racetrack, that the straights are pretty dry, but you know, this track rides as a big circle, and it's real important to get out of the start. Equally much as it's a world championship. Dominic Cabero, that's starting off on the inside, he's going to have that first opportunity come from gate 1. Now, in the past, we've seen gate 1 not being so good. There's Michael Hartel there. He possibly will know his way around this German racetrack. There's no doubt about that. But overall, I would say that these guys have had no practice. Some of them have never been to this racetrack. They've walked it, but they've walked with the covers on. So it's just all an unknown to some of these guys. Jack Holder coming out of A3, pretty keen, talked to him in the pits. He says, let's get on with it, let's get out there and get racing.
Jack Holder picked up 11 points in round 1. Dominic Kubera picked up 10 points. Hartel off the outside. We have seen gate 4 work well here in the past. We've seen some terrific Speedway Euro Championship meetings here over the last couple of years. Going to be tricky here tonight with a bit of light rain still falling, totally unknown track conditions. Let's see what happens here in Güstrow. Dominic Kubera inside, Brentin gate 2, Holder gate 3, Hartel off the outside. Heat number 1 gets underway, and it looks like a good one there from the inside.
Down they go.
Going in heavy, crash, nothing down to track conditions there at all as Brentin and Jack Holder go down, and there was plenty of elbowing going on into the bend. Jack Holder is straight onto his feet but appears to have taken a knock. Brentin went down heavily. I'll say again, Sam, that wasn't track conditions, that was 4 riders approaching the first bend together, elbows and sandwiches.
It's really important to get out of the start, there's no doubt. These guys are all pumped up. It is a world champion, second round, time to score some points, some unknown conditions to all these guys, no practice on the racetrack. Come out of the start, you see on the outside, Hartel comes straight across him and bumps into Holder, and then Holden goes into Wooten, and it's just a knock-on effect. So I would say the referees can be pretty easy, but from that outside gate in the yellow, you can see Hartel come straight across him, handlebars up, Holder knocks the throttle off, foot pegs start grabbing front wheels, and there's just nowhere for them to go. I'd say that was Alexander Wooten's right-hand foot peg got caught in Holder's front wheel, and that brought them straight to the ground.
Well, good to see they're both up and walking away, because it was quite an awkward landing. Artur Kazmirez is the referee here this evening. There are no exclusion lights on, so we would imagine it's going to be all 4. And it was a case of Michael Hartel trying to come across on the outside, bumping with Jack Holder going into the bend. There you see Jack Holder making his way back in, and Brentin is also walking his way around turns 1 and 2, so there will be a slight delay whilst they sort out machinery. Looks like the riders are both okay. Certainly Brentin is walking away. Looks like he's fine. There he is now. Just hopefully there's no damage to his hand or wrist area. It did go down heavily, but it looks like, certainly on first inspection, Sam, they both got away with that. Yeah,
they just bunched in. It all started from Hartel from the outside. He bumps into Holder then, and it was just a knock-on effect there. It's pretty hard to avoid that, no matter what you're doing as a racer. Just kind of going for the flow, trying to get into that first corner, and we'll see probably a perfect example of it right here now. But Cabera on the inside, trying to make it to the first corner. Wooten in blue, he just gets squeezed in, especially when Holder gets a nudge, and it's just a matter of, it's just a foot peg grabbing the front wheel and pulling them down. And luckily they weren't going at too massive of speed. They went down fairly easy, if you would say there is an easy fall in Speedway.
It is wet going into that first bend. They've sent the tractor around several laps for 10 minutes before the meeting, and it did manage to redistribute some of the water, if you like. Jack Holder just having a Jack Holder not at all happy. Jack Holder,
Yeah,
not
I
at
think
all
it's
happy.
just pumped, you know what I mean? It's a world championship. It's the best thing to do is get in there and try to be safe. And it's difficult when I'd say that Hartel, the German rider, really knows his way around this racetrack. Probably got more experience here than most of the other guys. And now the start, he knows how important it is. Coming from gate 4, it's a long way to the first turn. And he just directly, as soon as he dumped the clutch, he's seen a little bit of air to his left, and he started going across. Holder then was just kind of the guy getting sandwiched in between it, and Wooten on the inside. We're looking at him getting his getting the dirt off of his suit from falling down in the wet stuff, which really hard to avoid out there because the whole track's got some moisture in it in places. And yet to see these guys go around and do a full lap yet.
Completely, yes, yeah.
Yeah, so. You know, they're all still anticipating, and I guarantee you all the riders will be looking over the fence. And there's some senior Grand Prix riders here as well. We're seeing Ty Wolfenden in the pits, so I'm sure there's going to be some words there. Possibly Jack Holder will be taking some advice from that.
I'm taking a look around the circuit now. I mentioned the wet patch going into bend 1. Looking round bend 2 up to bend 3, there was a big wet patch going into bend 3. That's gone completely. But midway round bend 3 and 4 from mid-track to outside, that also looks very wet. So there you can see the rain. It's still on. That's a lot better rain than it was, say, 15 minutes ago. But I'm looking up at that top bend, Sam, bend 3 and 4, and it's really wet on the outside there.
It is, and, you know, the riders, the only opportunity they got is to go out there before they get to the start line. If they got somebody in their corner that's really keeping their eyes on what's going on with the wet conditions, we'll relay that message back to them. And then their opportunity is once they get on the bike and they get pushed off, they'll come around the long way around, obviously coming from it's over in
Bend
turns
2,
2, yeah, where the pit gates are, and they'll get an opportunity to just kind of drive around and be able to see, you know, where that wet spot is that you've pointed out going into turn 3, and it's high and it is wet. It's holding a lot of water there. But the most important thing right now is to stay focused. And you see some advice there that Holder's getting.
Absolutely, yes. Chat's talk going on in the pits. Casper Bruyne there, and it's not going to be easy. There's no question about that. But as you say, they never actually got as far as bend 3 in that first stage of heat 1. We saw a Euro Championship meeting here last year, which was affected by the weather, and in fact they didn't quite complete the meeting due to rain coming in. But that was more off and on rain. Track conditions did change several times during the meeting. This has been, as I say, steady, constant rain all day, albeit the covers were down for much of it. But the downpour that we've had since the covers came off certainly won't have helped matters whilst they were trying to sweep things up. But it looks like we'll be...
Point out, too, though, I mean, it is wet, and it has got a bit of a mist of rain. It's not really showering down, so it's not really... It can affect the riders, their vision a little bit, only because you got a bit of a mist going. But, you know, they got plenty of tear-offs if they can just get out on the racetrack. The conditions themselves aren't perfect. There's no doubt about it. The choices aren't really there for them, is it? Because tomorrow the forecast is the same. Everybody seems keen on getting this meeting on today. It is the second round, and there's lots of points to be gained. And let's put it on a tilt on another way here. I mean, if you have half a chance and you're clever on this racetrack, following the conditions and how they might be changing, you could pick up some vital points, and maybe it can just, you know, balance this competition a little bit to the other way, where we know that Maxime Gravic is unbeaten the last time at Poznan in Poland, and there's an opportunity here for a lot of the guys. That's what they will be thinking, that's for sure.
If you're Drabic, surely what you want after 21 points in the first round, you want 2 perfectly normal meetings, dry tracks, nothing unusual, because you know with his ability, he would expect to score maybe not 21 every time, but enough to defend that margin. 2-minute warnings on, by the way. Yeah,
yeah, this is Speedway, though. That there's no perfect
quite
conditions.
That easy, is it?
To be world champion, you must take on all the different conditions and try to master them the best you can. You know, there's a lot of luck that kind of comes to the riders. If you prepare yourself for it, the opportunity might come where, you know, the gate draw is quite important, if you know what I mean, too. Yeah. I mean, being on the inside gates might be an advantage, but we just seen Hertel, he made a decent one from the outside. So we're yet to see which is the bogey gate and which ones stay consistent. One
thing you won't probably see too much from the picture tonight is there is actually quite a good crowd here. The thing is, most of the crowd are on the home straight, which is now completely covered accommodation. They've done lots of work here over the last year or so. When we came here in July, they were working on it. Well, they've now got a full cover on this home straight, and the fans are absolutely packed in there. A lot of people here for the Grand Prix tomorrow, of course, and the hardy souls around turns 1 and 2 and turns 3 and 4 with their umbrellas and their warm coats, because it has been cold today as well. But it's actually not a bad crowd here, because the section that you can't see under the home straight grandstand, that's very full indeed.
Yeah, well, Jack Holder is probably the guy that's supposed to see if he can take advantage of this first heat coming from gate 3. Can be a difficult gate. Cabrera up on the inside, might be thinking that everything's good for him, but this track is a very funny shape. These guys come sliding in the corner straight out of the start. Jack Holder went in, he just missed out the semifinal, the first semifinal of the first round of this at Polesnar, and he got a third. So I imagine he'll want to score a lot of points if he possibly can tonight to keep his challenge going.
Jack Holder making his way around to the start line. Unfortunately, the 2-minute clock, which they were desperately trying to make work before the meeting, that is not currently working. Whether some water's going into that, I'm not too sure, so we couldn't tell exactly how long he got to go. I'll start checking my stopwatch when the 2 minutes comes on. Here we go with the rerun of Heat 1. Cabrera off the inside, went in gate 2, Holder gate 3, and Hartel off the outside. Let us see if we can get them round all 4 laps. The start marshal is not happy. Now, what is going on here? The 2-minute warning is still on. The riders are all at tapes, and the start marshal is seeking some clarification from the referee.
Right.
Now, whether someone did exceed, but there's no exclusion light on, and the start marshal is looking across at the referee's box, which is to our left. We're actually pitched in the jury room here tonight. We must be an exalted company. So we are just to the right as far as the riders are concerned of the start-finish line. And here we go now with the restart of heat number 1. They are away. Dominic Cabrera off the inside. Almost a repeat performance, actually, as Hartel tried to come across, but Cabrera has got the lead over Jack Holder, and Holder lifts on the back straight. So will they get round turns 3 and 4 safely? Dominic Cabrera leads from Jack Holder. It's Michael Hartel in third, making the move down the inside. We've seen that. That's a really popular move around Güstrow, and the local one has done so. And Jack Holder is in big trouble, probably filled in, mechanical trouble as well. And Brenton goes through into third place. That slot can happen when the conditions are this tricky, this treacherous.
Yeah, that's it. You know, these engines, they're not guarded or shielded by any of the elements of what the back wheel throws up, and if there's a lot of moisture coming over the HT lead, the ignition side of the bike, it can kill it dead. But Cabrera's doing a good job from the inside gate out front, really attacking the racetrack. Difficult conditions for them, but we'll probably be seeing that a lot. Inside line seems to be the place to be at this moment.
Yeah, touch wood, Cabrera has not really got out of shape at all in this race as he comes around to win Heat 1. Second place is Michael Hartel, showing some good local knowledge there, with Alexander Brenton in third place. And real frustration there for Jack Holder, who was second in the early stages but was done down the inside off bend 4. A really popular passing place here at Güstrow, with Hartel coming through on Holder. Brenton followed him through as Jack Holder hit trouble, and he fails to finish the opening race. So Heat 1 is done and dusted. Dominic Cabrera the winner, second place Michael Hartel, and third spot Alexander Brenton.
Yeah, you know, it's pretty much just the way we probably could read the racetrack. You can almost see that, you know, get out of that start's important. The inside gate obviously paid dividends for Dominic Cabrera to get himself out in front. Jack Holder got himself in a pretty good position in the white helmet color, lifted a little bit coming off of 2, gets in there, but the local German rider Hartel kind of really knew where to put that bike. He didn't make as good a start this second attempt of this race 1. He got pushed out in the first corner, but he composed himself there, and as Holder lifted right about there, that was enough for him to back off. Probably didn't know where to go in turns 3, and the big cutback from Hartel, which is the place you have to be sometimes, especially this track, the way the conditions are. Nobody knows what they're going to give the riders, and Holder was easy picking. Now, if Holder's bike was effect from the roost, because the back wheel was right by his ignition, which is on the left-hand side of his left foot, that's where the HT leads, goes over the spark plug. If that got damp, it easily will cut the bike, and right there is probably the place he got wet, and the bike probably just slowed up now. That's my anticipation, but yeah, probably would have happened.
So Jack Holder fails to score in the opening race, and that turn 4 inside move is a key one around Güstrow, and quite often we see riders trying to make that move and actually crossing both wheels over the white line and being excluded. Now that's a little bit tricky because the white line has gone at this stage because of how wet it's been, and the riders were all riding over that point. So you might get away with things up there at this stage if you're not too obvious about it.
Yeah, you know, I think, wow, the referee, you know, that's a good point, Dave. There is no white line looking down where we're at coming out of 4. It's literally covered with mud. you can't see it. So I'm sure the riders won't be able to see it. So the referee's going to have to take that on board for sure. If the riders happen to cut really tight, it's going to 3 and 4. Now I've been a victim of that corner before in the past. So these guys here, they gotta be aware of that. And if they've not been here before, they could be easily caught out.
I think you saw it there in Heat 1 with Michael Hartel coming through on Jack Holder. Max Frick in red, recently back from a serious neck injury, made a really rapid recovery from that, and good to see him back on a bike. He will also ride in Tetero tomorrow. Robert Lambert also carrying an ongoing knee problem. He's in blue. Patrick Hansen, we didn't see the best of him in round 1. He's in white. And Brady Kurtz, who was half injured during round 1, hopefully now back to full fitness, he goes in yellow.
Yeah, well, we can say Max Frick only dropped 1 point in all of his races at Posen, but missed out in the semifinal and didn't make the final. So points needed here are all.
Like a bit of a jump there from the outside. Brady Kurtz races to first bend, and the referee lets the race continue. We'll look at the replay there. Brady Kurtz absolutely launching from the outside gate. It's Max Frick in second place, Robert Lambert in third with Patrick Hansen out the back. But Brady Kurtz certainly determined to get himself away from gate 4. He did just that, had at least a bike and a half length into the bend as Max Frick gets out of shape on turns 1 and 2, giving Lambert the chance to come down the inside. Frick maintains second place.
Yeah, Brady Kurtz, what a start, man. We're looking forward to seeing the replay of that, but whatever happened, he made the jump, got going, whether the other guys got caught out, and Max Frick's holding on to that second. It's pretty difficult conditions out there. Robert Lambert's going to follow him through. So again, these guys just got to figure out, look at all the tear-offs coming off of Max Frick's goggles there. Hopefully he's not going to get roosted from the guy in front. He's way out in front. That's Kurtz.
Well, fair play to the riders for making a go of it here and really making quite a good go of it so far. It's Brady Kurtz into bend 3 and 4 for the final time. Max Frick holding second place over Robert Lambert. Kurtz wins heat number 2. The Australian star Brady Kurtz wins it, gets 3 points on the boards, only scored 6 in Poznan. I mentioned he was carrying an injury in that meeting. That certainly affected his scoring, but he gets 3 points here in his first ride in Güstrow. Max Frick a solid enough second place. Had just had one moment where he got out of shape on the second lap, and third place went to Robert Lambert. Kurtz, Frick, Lambert was the race result of heat number 2, and what a start by Brady Kurtz from the outside.
Yeah, tremendous. You got to be focused, no doubt about it. Tricky conditions, start's real important to this racetrack, and you just see from that shot there. But he just dumped that clutch, and his bike he definitely jumped, didn't he? Referee,
I think he's got one
missed
there.
out. Yeah, he got one on his side on that one. Referees missed that one. It was pretty obvious, but then again, the conditions are difficult. We don't want no rain, any more rain, so the referee's probably pretty wise in the fact that he can only control as much as he can do. But if he would have stopped that, it would have just delayed things. And what's the important number we got to get to?
It is 16. 16 is the number. There's been a bit of debate about what would be the number of heats required, because generally in FIM meetings, 50% of the total would be 12, and that will be taken. But in this event, and indeed in the Grand Prix, you need to get to heat 16 to declare a result. So I think you're absolutely right there, Sam. The referee probably common sense, and unless it's mega obvious, well, that might have been mega obvious, but he's not going to probably.
As long as he's consistent, right? As long as we don't, as long as everybody gets played the same way here. Now the riders will know that, but you can't be overconfident to try and anticipate. Look at the deep rut right there that they have to negotiate coming out of the start. Sometimes those ruts are where you want to be, but the inside gates, that's you got to feel that you might have the opportunity there, but every gate's a new gate, and guess who's on gate number 3? The unbeaten rider so far. The first round went out there and collected 21 points, and that's Drabic coming from 3. He's the one that everybody's going to be chasing now.
Dimitri Berger rides in red. Lucas Fienhager goes in blue. Maxim Drabic 21 points from the first round in white, and Kasper Verina goes in yellow. And Drabic in white does make the start. Really good start by Maxim Drabic. Attacks that first bend, comes across on Dimitri Berger and leads up the back straight. Drabic immediately stamping his authority, stating intentions on this meeting with that start from gate number 3. These Poles won the World Team Championship in Rybnik last weekend. Drabic was involved, so was Kasper Verina. They're split here by Dimitri Berger.
Yeah, well, he's attacking it good, but he's also got to be very cautious too, because like I said, they've not been on this racetrack, and there is a lot of wet spots on it, and it is jerking the right side, but he's going really good. Maxim Drabic is really showing his color.
Great deal of talent on show here. Okay, we're not seeing close wheel-to-wheel racing at this stage, but these are riders going out on a very difficult track, their first time of the night, and I wouldn't say they're making it look easy, but we're not seeing riders way out of shape in these races. They are getting around fairly safely. Let's hope it carries on that way. It's Maxime Drabic over Dimitri Berger, who's really putting a challenge in here on the last bend. Berger gained ground on the last lap. Drabic wins it. Second place Berger, and Varina in third place. Fienhager out the back, and it's not pretty, but they are getting round. We're not seeing riders crash on every corner, thank goodness. So in that respect, it's not going too badly based on the way the weather has been. And Maxime Drabic has now won all 8 of his rides in the series so far. He's on to 24 points overall. Any questions over his motivation or anything about the meeting tonight? No question at all there. Drabic over Berger, Varina in third place in Heat 3.
Well, there was a bit of the concentration there at that start, as there always will be, and I would say that the points leader, Maxime Drabic from 3, just left that clutch out. He had really nobody challenge him in the first corner. The bike, then you see him over the top of the bike as much as he possibly can do, but at the same time trying to get some traction. And Berg there sat back on the back wheel a little bit coming off of turn 2 and was able to keep pace with Drabic. Made a super start from that gate number 3, got himself out and immediately was attacking the racetrack. Both of these riders got the turns with this slippery racetrack straight away within these 4 laps. They were attacking each other, and you see right there Drabic. That's what's going to happen, is these guys will get some they'll get some wheel spin where it's nice and slippery, but the other times they get some unknown traction where they don't expect it. So you cannot sit back on the bike. You got to be over the top of it all the time.
But as the track is turning over and the rain at the moment is staying away, for example, the big wet patch that I pointed out on the third and fourth bend, that is now not such a big wet patch. It's still there, but it's nowhere near as big as it was.
Well, they're not making big lines at the moment. You know, that's going to be a slippery. If they start getting confident now and the track on the inside starts bedding in a bit, getting a little bit drier, the guys will start looking for outside moves. And that outside move, that up 3, where you've noted where the water was earlier, we can see visually still glossy. That right there will be a place that will probably slide out quite easily if they come aggressively in there.
So Heat 4 sees the final 4 riders of the meeting take their first go on this circuit. Bartosz Schmecktaler, the man who finished second in the first round, he rides in red. It's Andreas Leaga, who also rode well in Poznan before crashing in the semis. He is in blue. Yevgenis Kostygov's a finalist. Also, he picked up 11 and made the final in Poznan. He's in white. And Edouard Kruchmar, he is that man there in yellow.
Yeah, Kostygov, I think he was quite impressive in the last one. And Schmecktaler, he just never really dominated, but he got into the final and ended up coming second overall and landing 15 points after that. So he's eager to get some points, I'm sure.
Yeah, Schmecktaler well placed. Can he keep up with Maxime Drabic, the man off the inside in red? Schmecktaler does get to the first bend in front, quite tight for second. Don't fall off, Schmecktaler locked up completely on turn 2 and was clobbered by Edouard Kruchmar. And meanwhile, there's more carnage down the back straight as Kostygovs has come to grief as well. So no damage done for as far as Schmecktaler is concerned, although it will damage his series campaign because he'll undoubtedly be excluded there.
Well, you know what? You think so, but he got hit, didn't he?
But he did lock up.
Yeah, okay. So the momentum of him going down, so the referee, did he make a decision?
We'll look back on it again and we'll see. Yeah. Out of your shot, Kostygovs, for some reason, came down on the back straight. Whether he clipped the fence, I'm not sure. He's also about to make his way back. So all kinds of drama there in Heat 4. And the referee will have a look at it, sort it all out.
Yeah, still tricky conditions. You still got to attack it. And Schmecktaler from the inside gate gets in the corner and aggressively turns it. But as he spins the bike up, it spins too much and it locks him up a little bit. Oh, he went down. Yes, he locked up and went down at the same time. From my first view of it, it looked like he locked up and then got hit from behind. No, he was going down. No doubt, yep. Easy call for the referee. Now then, so what did Kostygov do then?
Kostygovs, I believe, came down after the race had been stopped, but it was way down the back straight. So whether our cameras have seen that, I'm not too sure yet.
Well, see, the referee's got to make a decision. If your motor's not... Well, he would have put the red line on.
If the reds went on there, which I assume they will,
yeah.
The incident with Kostygovs happened a bit later.
Yeah,
there's the red light.
Confirmation of that.
So that is drama indeed, and frustration for Schmecktaler, who scored 15 points in Poznan, and in the very early stages there of Heat 4, looked like he was going to be off to a good start there, but that's gone wrong for him, and now it's a case of refocusing, get the bike sorted out, get cleaned up, and go again in his next ride.
Yeah, well, Schmecktaler in the Poznan, he got a second, a third, a second, a win, and a second, so he never really dominated. anything in that event, so maybe he can afford to drop 3 points in his first race. He did in the last one, and he ended up coming out with 15 points. But to win a world championship, you can't have any mistakes, and sometimes tricky conditions, as we've noted. The rain has played its part. Grand job of covering it, otherwise we wouldn't even be getting on with this racetrack.
The Polish youngsters won the World Under-21 Team Championship in Rybnik last weekend. Smektala scored 14 out of 15, Drabik scored 13, Vorina scored 10, and Kibera scored 10. So they scored 47 points between them, and that again underlines just the strength. A very good Australian team finished 10 points behind them.
Wow. Yep. So it just goes to show there's a lot of talent in the Polish side as well. The Aussies are trying to keep pace with them. This is a very neutral racetrack, I would say, because there's not a lot of them have been on it. The conditions will definitely be a leveler for all of them. It's we all know that getting out of the start in Speedway is real important. I would say that this track, I mean, and note the fact that the starting gate is almost coming off of turns 4, where conventionally the starting line's always in the middle of the straightaway. In this case, it's a long drag race to the first corner, and once they get in that corner, they got a heck of a lot of speed. They turn the bike. It rides in a big circle after that. Down the back straightaway, can only pick the bike up a little bit. Then they're back into their slide again. So it's really, really a little bit different. And sometimes you don't even know where the start-finish line is if you've not been here much, when you're racing for the finish, if you know what I mean. Yeah, because the tapes are in the corner, actually. The finish line is.
When you're racing for the finish line, it doesn't matter where you are beyond it, as long as you get a wheel in front, if you're out of shape or whatever, especially with a big dive down the inside as we see so often, that can be done. So 2-minute warning is on, and the riders are on track, and there is Kostagol's back on his bike after his unscheduled spill on the back straight when the race had been stopped, and it looks like he's going out on the same bike, because there is definite markings on it that it's had a bit of an incident. So obviously no damage done there, and it will be Andreas Lajaga off the inside, effectively gate 2 in the race in blue, but the most inside of the riders, with Smektala being excluded. Kostagol's goes in white and Kruchmar goes in yellow. Riders just looking for the optimum starting position, with Kostagol there in white, was just off the bike briefly. Start marshal calling them into line. Be interesting to see what they do with the track after heat 4, whether we have any grading at all, or whether we just leave it. We'll see what the organisers want to do there. But anyway, they're coming into line for the restart of heat 4. Hansen in blue, Lajaga Hansen that is, with Kostagol in white and Kruchmar in yellow. And it's a good start there from the outside, it would appear. Yes, Edouard Kruchmar has the advantage as the riders in blue and white go close to each other. Lajaga Hansen going inside Kostagol, and Kostagol drops back to third. That'll be frustrating, as he was actually in front when the first staging was stopped. But Edouard Kruchmar, the Czech, leads on to his second lap. An inside line taken by Andreas Lajaga. He's in blue, and it's Kostagol in third in white.
Yeah, not a bad race. I would say track grading definitely needed. They will not, I don't think they'll pass up that opportunity. The riders are finding it very difficult to keep a solid, smooth line. It is tricky conditions right there. You can see Kashmir really trying to hold that bike down. You got to keep the back wheel spinning, but you're very vulnerable.
Edouard Kruchmar didn't show his best in the first meeting with only 5 points, but he is a capable rider on his day, and
see what I mean?
Picks up some real drive there.
That's it. You just can't relax. He looked back at the same time. The bike hooked up, so you just can't give it up give an inch here.
Well, Kruchmar brings it home and wins heat 4. Second place for Andreas Lajaga, with Yevgenis Kostagol, frustrated, no doubt, third place, especially after he was going well when the race was stopped after Smektala's fall. But a good ride there by Kruchmar to get the race victory. Had his share of troubles in Poznan, did Kruchmar, but he gets the win there. Andreas Lajaga in second place and Kostagol in third.
Yeah, Lajaga was a solid second there, but Kruchmar made that outside gate count. He had some inspiration for whatever it was, but we know that we've seen in the past. We've been here, 2 or 3 times covering Güstrow, and gate 4 always seems to be one that does come alive. And in this heat number 4, and they're bringing out the graders right now. I just looked out the window there. So these guys will benefit that from this point on. But what a good start there from Kruchmar to get himself out. The Czech gets going. A bit of an aggressive ride there from Laguerre to get himself in the second position. And as you said, if it wasn't for that Smektala's incident in the first attempt of this heat 4, could have been a different story there for Vestergaard, which was really in good position before we had to restart this race.
It looks like when they go into the bend one right on the inside, that's where it's causing an issue.
Well, the thing is that's where the more laps, more riding's been. So the track is actually dried up there, but then again, it's still got the moisture from the slop of from the remains of the wetness of the racetrack. And the back wheel then finds it spinning, and the rider rolls off the throttle a little bit to hook the bike up again. Then it finds a dry spot, and the bike launches again. So very difficult. When you're sitting on the seat of the bike, all you want is the bike to have a consistent ride, and your throttle is what makes that happen. And sometimes it's spinning, so you roll off to get a little bit extra traction, or you give it a little bit more, and it just finds the drive. Sometimes we don't want it when there's these kind of conditions.
Bit more light rain coming down at the moment. It's just been one of those days. It comes and it goes, and just hopefully it won't ever be heavy enough to cause a massive issue here. As I say, we need 16 heats to get a result tonight, and the difficulty of finding a restaging date, especially as several of the riders have got meetings in Poland on Sunday. It's Polish playoffs, semi-final second legs, and most of the Poles are involved there for their teams.
Yeah, they're just cleaning some clutch plates there. That's actually the clutch hub. And that's the last one that pushes all the plates together, and they'll clean that off, and just to get it all nice and dry. The conditions, if the bike went down, got some water in it, even the back wheels shooting off the riders you're following will throw dirt all over the clutches. And so the boys in the pits will have their eyes open to make sure that they're servicing these things, and there's going to be no chance of any failure.
Let's just confirm the 4 winners so far tonight. Dominic Cabero won Heat 1, Brady Kurtz won Heat 2, Maxim Drabik won his first outing as well, Heat 3, and Eduard Kruchmar, the most recent winner we've just seen. Heat 5 will feature, in fact, 3 of them, Kruchmar, Kubera and Drabik. Throw in Max Frick as well. That's quite a strong lineup for Heat 5.
That's a really strong. Yeah, that's a good one. Heat 5 is probably the best race of the night, and they're just grading the racetrack. I hope that doesn't give these guys some false security. We noted that at turn 3, you kept mentioning the fact that it was full of water up there. If these all 4 riders going down that back straight or come in there's not a heck of a lot of room, and easily somebody could be in there. You can just see on the top of the screen there where the yellow jacket is. There's a marshal up there talking to somebody on the other side, but that is the wet spot going into 3. Very, very hard to get in there without turning the bike hard to get around the corner, and it's really wet there.
It's an indication that you can cover a track as best you can, and they certainly did, and they had the whole track covered. But when you have constant water coming down throughout the day, it's absolutely impossible, unless the circuit has been absolutely purpose-built recently with the drainage, etc. You cannot keep every piece of water away from the circuit, no matter how much you cover it.
Well, as we do race in outdoor venues, as we're looking at here, the elements of Mother Nature will always play its part. And if you want to be a keen speedway rider and be the best in the world, you have to, these challenges, you'll have to face them and deal with them the best way you can. We do know that luck will play its part, but if you're on top of your game and you settle for those second places when it's difficult conditions, sometimes you can't win them all. The points stack up, and somebody's going to fold. Neutral track, I would say this Güstrow, just under 300 meters, is 298 meters, I believe. It's pretty much a big oval. Real important to get all that start, as we've been mentioned, and just getting that first corner, but don't overspin it going in the corner. We've seen the results of some of these guys spinning the bike too much, rolling the throttle off. In the past, we've seen that in some of the Sec Series, there's been some big incidents where guys have lifted in the middle of the corner.
Hülkenberg in the semi-final.
Absolutely. The favorite, the German, was here. The crowd was let down because he didn't make he got excluded in the final. But still, these guys here are trying to win a world championship, and every point counts. You just got to take the difficulties of the conditions and try to play the best way you can. And natural riders will get out there and really screw the throttle on and hope for the best.
You told me, Sam, that Germany in early September would be really nice. You said the climate here was excellent in September.
It's always nice in Germany. It's just unfortunately we're somewhere along the line we got a little bit of the bad weather, as we've had in a lot of places over the summer, that's for sure.
Anyway, Heat 5, this should be a good one with some early race winners. Eduard Kruchmar there in red, the last man up to tapes. He has 2 rides on the trot. It's Dominic Cabera going in blue off gate 2, Max Frick in white off gate 3, and Maxim Drabik, the unbeaten man, he's in yellow off the outside. big lineup in Heat 5. 3 early race winners and a second place man in Max Frick, and the unbeaten Maxim Drabic in the series. He goes off the outside in yellow. It's a good start by Max Frick in white from gate 3. Frick gets to the bend in front of Drabic. He's very rarely been outgated in this series so far. He has been there. Frick, the defending champion, over Drabic, the man who's trying to take the crown. Drabic goes wider than we've seen anyone so far tonight, and he maintains his second place. Dominic Cabrera in third with Edouard Kruchmar out the back. So Max Frick, recently back from injury, out in front, being chased down by Maxim Drabic.
Yeah, let me say this too. Max Frick, the current world champion, makes a tremendous start there from gate 3 and then pulls down the first round. The only person to beat him is trailing him in second place right now. So a good scout for him in this one. He's out in front, really enjoying his racing. It looks like, I'm sure it's challenging for him. He's up in that high line where that wet spot is, so he's testing it out.
Max Frick made a remarkable recovery from a serious neck injury sustained in Sweden a month or so ago, and he's really tearing up heat number 5 with Drabic trying different lines but getting rather out of shape on turn 2.
Nice.
So he'll come through for second. It's a great win there, great ride by Max Frick to win heat 5. Second place to Maxim Drabic. Dominic Cabrera gets the third spot with Edouard Kruchmar out the back, and so for the first time in the series, Maxim Drabic drops a point after 8 straight wins. He finishes in second place there. Max Frick gets one over on him there in heat 5. There's confirmation, a really good start by Frick from gate 3. Frick winning it from Drabic with Dominic Cabrera in third and Edouard Kruchmar out the back.
Well, that tells us a bit of a story there that, Max Frick, the Australian, come from gate number 3 with Maxim Drabic, the Polish rider, come from 4. Probably thought his chances were going to be good from that side. Look how Drabic goes right up to the dirt line trying to get some traction there. And it was all about Frick to get to the first corner first. He kept it down low, got plenty of speed down the back straightaway. Here's another look at him coming out of the start right there on the inside. The Cabrera's trying to get there in blue. On the inside is Kirschmer. He's outgated getting in the first corner. Still, though, the Australian held that tight line coming through the first turns 2. Coming off this one now, he's letting the bike run, and towards the end of the race there, he's really moving up on the high line, testing the conditions up in the high line, which is a really nice place to be, and he got a real smooth ride. Smart ride.
Indeed, and good win for Max Frick. On we go to heat 6 with Andreas Leaga riding in red, Dimitri Berger in blue, Alexander Brentin in white, and Patrick Hansen goes in yellow. And Patrick Hansen here, a rider who's pretty highly rated. He's had a good record over the years in the youth format, the junior format, but it hasn't really clicked for him so far. He's in yellow here.
Well, he's coming from that gate 4. Not a bad place to be, really, for the Dane. He's got some heavy conditions. I would say that the Frenchman Bjerg was looking pretty handy in his first outing out, but there's a fellow Dane Lagar on the inside there. Everybody's going to. These guys have all scored a couple of points, bar Hansen from 4, so his opportunity could come here in heat 6.
Inside gate, Andreas Leaga, former Scunthorpe rider in the UK. Dimitri Berger has also had plenty of time in the UK with various clubs in the old Premier League. Alexander Brentin goes in white, Patrick Hansen goes in yellow. Heat number 6 out the start line. Tapes were held there by the referee. They go away, and Leaga off the inside does make the start. A real shove there. Brentin's had some tough treatment once again, that time from Dimitri Berger. Brentin goes back round Hansen, who looks unhappy, and Brentin moves through into third. But now the race on at the front. Dimitri Berger going wide, and that might give the chance there to Brentin to come down the inside, and that was a smart ride there by Brentin, because Dimitri Berger trying to go for the lead, but in the end he cost himself second place.
Yeah, they're moving around the track a little bit now too, so the bigger lines are coming, and that's going to make some. If the rain stays away, this track will come to the riders. There'll be some big lines. And
Dimitri Berger is trying to find some as he goes wide on turns 1 and 2, and can he get round there? There's not going to be too much space. He's definitely quicker than Brentin, but Brentin has that inside line, nice. And Berger pulling some real shapes as he starts his last lap. Leaga is out in front after a really good start. This is actually the best race so far, because we're seeing riders changing lines, and the faster rider in third place can't quite make his way through. It's Leaga who takes the victory, and it will be a second place for a defensive Brentin with Dimitri Berger in third. He will be frustrated because he was second in the early stages, but lost out there off bend 4 when he was exploring the wide line. It is rainy again here, but the rider's putting on a good show in these circumstances, and Andreas Leaga moves on to 5 points from 2 rides. Really solid start to his night's work in tough conditions. Leaga the winner of heat 6 with Brentin in second place and attacking Dimitri Berger in third.
Yeah, I'd say the track is actually suiting the riders pretty good now. I mean, we know the start's important, but it's given them some big lines now, and the guys that are focused on what they're doing are actually attacking the racetrack in the right place. So that grading has definitely settled it down a bit. Hansen on the inside gets himself into the first corner, holds a tight line all the way around, gets plenty of speed down the back straightaway. The Frenchman Bjerg tries to stay with them, but he stayed up high. And as you say, Vinton coming up on the inside, and the white there really was in a prime position right there and unsettled the Frenchman. He had to settle for that third place. Frustrated because he was in trying to make some big lines, but out in front, Hansen makes no mistakes getting that first corner and lets everybody else deal with the conditions.
So Leaga moves on to 5 points in the meeting. He joins Max Frick and Maxim Drabik on that mark, and Heat 7 is next up, and these are riders. So there is Leaga back in the pits, just cleaning up, and the riders in Heat 7 are riders who really do need points after difficult first rides, because only Robert Lambert there, who rides in white, has scored a point so far. He got one, but we saw Vierhager, he didn't score in his first ride. Smectaler, of course, crashed, and Jack Holder retired, so they need to get some points on the board here in Heat 7.
Yeah, it's every race is an important race for these guys, and it's still early days in this event. And the best thing right now is just keep calm and see if the track comes to you, because it will. I'm looking at there's some big lines developing, and you got to get out of the start. But then at the same time, after a couple more track grades, there's Chris Holder in the pits.
Probably somewhat relieved that he's not riding, so it's his brother.
Yeah,
I would think. I think if you offered anyone the choice in these circumstances, you'd rather play a watching brief, really.
There you go.
So Vierhager goes off the inside, Smectaler in blue, Lambert in white, and Jack Holder goes in yellow. Chris's younger brother, and he has that gate number 4. Here we go with Heat 7 then, and Lambert with a bit of a jump there from gate 3, but the race again continues, and it's Bartosz Smectaler who has the advantage. This time he gets around turn 2 safely. Lambert screws all the power around the outside on the back straight. Great ride by Lambert to take the advantage. He goes well wide on bench 3 and 4, and can he maintain the advantage? Yes, he can. What a good first lap there by Robert Lambert to get the better of Bartosz Smectaler. It's Jack Holder in third place with Vierhager at the back. Great ride there by Lambert.
Yeah, point taken. Like I said, the smart riders that know how to make this track used come to them right now. The track is moving, big lines everywhere, and Lambert knew exactly where to put that back wheel. Put it mid-track. The riders before this, couple races before this, been riding big lines, so it's a little bit easier for them. Smectaler messed out that opportunity, made a good start, got himself out in front, but the Englishman Lambert attacked the track, the right racing line.
It's good to see the mid-track to outside line developing as the meeting goes on, and Lambert has ridden superbly here as he goes into bench 3 and 4 for the final time. Heading home, Bartosz Smectaler. It's Lambert winning Heat 7, the Great Britain man, he takes the flag. Second place is Smectaler. Jack Holder in third. He would have wanted more from that race after failing to finish his first ride, but Robert Lambert there moves on to 4 points. We saw him win his first 3 rides in Poznan, but he had the crash with Kasper Farina that affected both man and machinery, but he's back on track and he gets the victory in Heat 7. Second place Bartosz Smectaler after his first ride crash, and Jack Holder in third, but that one all about Lambert's first lap.
It was just, it's almost like he read the track, exactly what you needed to do. And when this under 21 World Championship, these guys got to be thinkers. And when you're looking at the conditions, all right, he made a decent start to Lambert because he jumped a little bit. The referee let him get away with that one. He moved before the tapes went. That gave him an opportunity to get in too, but he didn't get to the first turn first. Smectaler actually got there first, tucked it up the inside, but Lambert stuck to that outside line, or let's call it a mid-track line at the moment, because I think there's still more room on that outside for these guys to develop some bigger lines. And as the track's got plenty of water up there, that will only come good. You see the roost coming off the back wheels, that's laying on the top line. That will come good for the riders later on. There'll be even some bigger lines, but real impressed with Lambert, attacking the racetrack, knew where to put the bike, and that gave him 3 points.
Robert Lambert moves on to 4 points in the meeting, and we move on to Heat 8 with Michael Hartel riding in red, Brady Kurtz in blue, Kasper Farina in white, and Yevgenis Kostigos goes in yellow. Hartel showed local track knowledge there in his first ride to pick up 2 points. Brady Kurtz was a winner first time out with a very fast start. Farina and Kostigos off gate 3 and 4. They finished third in their first rides.
Yeah, Kostigos would be thinking that he's got half a chance from that outside gate if he can get there first. But Farina being in gate number 3 equally will want to get there first. But Brady Kurtz, man, that guy's flying, isn't he? Comes off 3 points, come from the inside. So a loaded race with the German on the inside. He must know this track better than most of the other guys.
Yeah, Brady Kurtz coming in some good form late in the season, scored some vital points in Pool's big, crucial wins last week to make the Premiership playoffs in the UK, 12+1 at Somerset last Friday, and they go into action on Monday, of course, against Swindon in the playoff semi-finals. Here we go with heat number 8 here in Güstrow, and this time the tapes have been touched. Michael Hartel on the inside was certainly creeping. Brady Kurtz was in them as well, but for my money, Hartel was in them first. We'll see what the referee made of it, but we've seen a couple of edgy starts, and that one there was a great deal of creeping going on.
Yeah, well, they touched the tape, so there's no doubt that the referee had to do something. Yeah. Hartel, the German, just gave that one up. Jumped a little bit too quick, trying to make a start off that inside. The tapes didn't even move. The referee had no choice but to put the red line on. This is showing evidence that he was the first one. You see right there, Bradley Kurtz was focused to go. As soon as he jumped and the tapes moved, he went, but it was the German that hit the tapes first.
Yeah, Brady Kurtz did nothing wrong there. It was Michael Hartel inside him, and Michael Hartel was in the tapes first. The red exclusion light is on, and the tapes are being rebuilt, as it were, and we will see one of the two meeting reserves. I suspect it's probably going to be Dominic Moser who comes out in this one as a replacement for Hartel, but we'll wait confirmation on that with the rain swirling around, but thankfully does not appear to be affecting track conditions. I'm sure it's affecting the riders' visibility, but doesn't appear to. The track for me is better than it was, for example, in hits 1 and 2.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's no doubt about it. After they did the first grading, it settled the track down a bit. The riders had an opportunity. Remember, they missed practice because of the rain. It was waterlogged. They've covered the racetrack pretty much throughout the day. They removed the covers only, probably a half an hour before the start of this event, and they've left. The way the covers were, they left trails of water that seep between the cover edges, and that was affecting the first probably four races until they got on the track grade. Now we're at heat 8, and there's some lines now appearing a bit more mid-track than just on the inside. The riders are using them. There's a lot of experienced heads in the pits because we got a Grand Prix going on at Tetra, only 30 miles down the road or 30 clicks down the road. So I'm sure that these riders are getting some useful tips from some of the senior riders that are in the pits, what to do on the changing conditions. And I would say the track is coming to the riders now. There's some nice lines. There shouldn't be too many excuses. You can still get caught out because there could be some slippery spots. You might overturn it coming into the corners if you're doing some big moves, especially on some fresh dirt on the outside where nobody's ridden yet. But the riders just have to play the smart game now.
Restart then of Heat 8. The reserve Moser rides in red, replacing the excluded Michael Hartel. Brady Kurtz goes in blue, Kasper Verina in white, and Yevgenis Kostagos goes in yellow. There's been a great deal of anxiety, I should say, about this meeting being on, and we are approaching the rerun of heat number 8. Star Marshal walks away, and Brady Kurtz in blue is going to just get there in front of Kasper Verina. Very close indeed. Verina's gone round him. Kurtz can't quite keep him back, and Verina has the advantage. Kurtz in second place, Kostagos in third. These two could be teammates of Pool next year in the UK because Kasper Verina has already signed for the Pirates. He race leads on to his second lap with Brady Kurtz in second place, Kostagos in third, but Kurtz here is going to give it a go on Verina.
Yeah, Kurtz didn't quite get the drive he wanted to get that first corner, but he's getting a nice ride on the inside of Verina. If Verina makes a mistake, Kurtz will be there to take those points away from him, but Kurtz would have liked to have been in a little bit better position going through the first corner, so he's had to settle for that second now. It's only laps behind that he's got to get, hopefully, an advantage. We
saw Verina was quick but erratic in Poznan, had a couple of crashes, including parking himself on top of the air fence in one ride, but he's getting around here nicely. Most of the reserve has come to a stop, and it looks like Verina will hold back the challenge here of Brady Kurtz. They come around turns 3 and 4 for the final time. It will be Kasper Verina to win Heat 8 over Brady Kurtz. Third place to Yevgenis Kostagos, and Kurtz made a good start there off gate 2, but a really smart first couple of turns there by Kasper Verina, taking more of an outside run off bend 2, and he led Brady Kurtz, and Kurtz really gave a challenge mid-race, but Verina covered all the angles, covered the lines, and he gets a race victory to his account there in heat number 8. So Kasper Verina the winner, second place Brady Kurtz, and third place Yevgenis Kostagos.
I'd say Kasper Verina's setup was a little bit more fluent and aggressive than I would say Brady Kurtz. Brady Kurtz didn't quite get the jump and the drive to the first corner. Had to look at this back wheel right on that really slimy stuff right on the inside. The bike then drifted off the corner. He got into the same line as Verena by the time they coming out of turn 2. Here's another view of, look at Brady Kurtz. Gets his front wheel in the corner, puts it over the line. The back wheel's right on all that greasy stuff, and you can see right there Verena's just off the line. His back wheel's grabbing what little bit of traction or dry material there might be where the other riders in the previous races have raced on, which is giving him that little bit more of a drive. He goes up and kisses the air fence going into turns 3, which just pulls him a little bit of advantage by the time they finish the first lap. But Brady Kurtz then really put on the pressure, was trying different lines, trying to find some traction anywhere he can, but never could find this guy. Couldn't find the combination. It was all about getting to the first corner and letting that bike work, and I would say Verena did exactly what he needed to do in that one.
We saw Casper Verena there riding superbly at Güstrow 3 weeks or so ago in the final round of the Speedway Best Pairs. He's definitely one to watch out for in the future, and showing it there by heading home. Brady Kurtz. There is the crowd, and there's the brand new grandstand area here.
Yeah, the only dry area in the stadium. There's just a little bit of a shower. Everybody's got their coats on, but I can tell you, it looks worse in these pictures than it actually is out there. It's definitely coming down more of a heavy mist than it is a big rainfall.
And here's confirmation of how things stand so far after 8 races. A reminder, we need 16 here for a result to be declared, whatever the weather. Brady Kurtz, Max Frick, Maxim Drabic and Andreas Leaga have all got 5 points so far. Dominic Kibera, Robert Lambert and Casper Verena all on 4. Krutschmar, Bwentin and Berger on 3. And then you see Hartel on 2 and Spectaler on 2 points, largely thanks to a first ride crash. And Jack Holder only on 1.
I would say that these guys, all the riders are attacking the racetrack, and it's been pretty safe. I would say there's some conditions that are very difficult at the best of times, and I would like to applaud them coming out here attacking. It's a world championship. It's round 2 of the series of 3. The last one's going to be in Pardubice in the Czech Republic, and that's a really big track, and it's flat and it's fast. So this is more of a neutral racetrack. There's nobody dominating it at the moment. Nobody's gone through the cars unbeaten. So there's still a lot to come and a lot of big lines. Tractors are out there, rubbing it up. It should be good.
I think the riding so far tonight has been very good in difficult conditions. When I compare it with, for example, round 1 at Kings Lynn last year, which was an absolute crash fest. It lasted for probably about 5 hours on a dry circuit with riders over-attacking it and getting themselves into trouble. Poznan was tricky a few weeks ago, largely thanks to the heavy rain, and it did make turns 1 and 2 there tricky. But I think the riders so far in the first 8 heats here, we've seen a couple of incidents that have not really been down to conditions, but they've ridden it really sensibly.
Absolutely. I echo that. We've witnessed some really talented riders on fairly unorthodox conditions. Normally, this kind of scene, let it be any race meeting, would be questionable whether it would even start, would we?
Absolutely.
And it's a world championship. They're asking these boys to go out there and really lay it on the racetrack and make it happen for these the crowd here and us as well. The audience that are listening to us on it's just super good to see these guys. Very positive. When I walked through the pits, we had a really good opportunity to have a chat with everybody because everybody was tucked underneath the coverings in the pits, and you're able to go have personal conversations with them because nobody was walking off and looking at the racetrack because that was covered, nothing for them to do, and everybody was looking at the smiles at them right now as we're looking through the pits now. Tractors are coming off now, but everybody was positive, saying let's get on with it. There's a world championship here. There's an opportunity. Some of the riders are thinking there's an opportunity. Who could chase down Maxim Drabic's perfect score from Poznan? The opportunity on this racetrack, which is a neutral track, I would say, has got to be the best chance.
Well, Max Frick is the man, you would say, because Smectala, who was also 6 points behind, has actually dropped points early on tonight. Frick has done well with 5 points from 2 rides. Then you had to go back to the likes of Kostigovs and Jack Holder, and they've both had poor starts tonight. So really, I would say, even at this early stage, we're approaching halfway through the series, if you like, midway through the second round, Max Frick is the most likely challenger to Drabic at this point.
Well, the question was asked to me by the organizers. Did I believe that 6 points was enough for Drabic to be able to continue his lead? And I says, well, of course, it's a positive point coming into a championship with 6 points. It's his to lose, really. It's the other guys now to place play catch-up, and Max Frick was able to beat Dravik and drop his colors and when they met, and that's got to be a big booster for the Australian. But at the same time, there's a heck of a lot of riders that you've already mentioned underneath him that equally, the way the conditions are going, could easily spoil other riders' success tonight. So it's still a long way to go.
The good thing about the rain that's coming down, if there is a good thing about it, is that it's never threatened to be of the intensity that would give the referee a problem, a possibility of stopping the meeting, suspending the meeting, which we don't want to happen. We saw it happen in Halstavik in the Euro Championship in early August, and it's nowhere near as bad as that. It's just, it's damp, it's drizzly, it's not good for visibility, but it's okay. They're getting by.
Yeah,
Patrick Hansen in red, Kostigov in blue, Kibera in white, and Fienhaja in yellow.
Yeah, well, you look at the positive side. We're coming up to, this is Heat 9, then we got one more going into Heat 10. And that's pretty much half the series over, isn't it? So there's still an opportunity for a lot of riders to gain a lot of points, and they must think positive. To be world champion, the focus, the positive thought has always got to be in the back of your mind. Going on the racetrack in difficult conditions is where you got to showcase your ability, and these Heat 9 is at the tapes now just to show us exactly what they're made of.
Very close on the start line between Kibera and Fienhaja off gates 3 and 4, and Kibera makes a much better start, but he might be beaten to the first bend by the rider in red, Patrick Hansen, who's not shown too much so far. He did lead early on, but Kibera has gone round him on the back straight. He race leads into bends 3 and 4. It's Kostigov's in third place with Fienhaja at the back, but a good move there by Kibera. Made a good start from gate 3 alongside Fienhaja early on. They were really close on the start line, but he's really stamped authority here. Kibera leads onto bend number 3.
Yeah, Dominic Kibera really used that gate 3 to the best of his ability by just made a good start, no doubt about that, but got into the racing line, which seems to be mid-track, and just started pulling away from the Dane. Patrick Hansen's trying to hold on to it. He might be under a little bit of threat from Kostigov coming in the blue there, but looks like it's pretty easy for Kibera now.
Best ride so far from Hansen in second place in red, with Kostigov's in third. Fienhaja is going to no score, it looks like, for the third race in succession, but a terrific ride here by Dominic Kibera, very much a leading light, and he wins heat number 9 in the white helmet colour. Second place Patrick Hansen, third Yevgenis Kostigovs, and Dominic Kibera moves on to 7 points from 3 rides, a win, a third, and now a second win of the meeting, and probably a race he would expect to win on paper, but he did so in impressive style. Kibera over Hansen, with Kostios in third place.
You know, the bike setups are fairly important too. When you got slippery conditions, you want to try to make the bike a little bit aggressive, especially to get out of the start. Dominic Kibera was really trying to find and claim his position at a gate number 3 to get himself in the first corner the best way he can. Patrick Hansen, the Dane, on the inside, made that inside gate work for him, but to make the bike jump, look at how Hansen's bike's flat on the ground right there, where you can see Kibera's bike's launched him into the corner. Now that's the difference, probably a little bit to do, because Kibera's riding excuse me, on the outside, gate number 3, where the riders are going across the racetrack there. But at the same time, Patrick Hansen's on the inside where nobody rides, so it's a little bit greasier there. So the setups of the bikes will help you get to that first corner. So Patrick Hansen probably needed to make that bike a little bit more aggressive to get him into the first corner. But a good job for Dominic Kibera to make that gate 3 work for him. And
a really interesting heat 10 now at the start line with Kasper Ruina. We've just seen him riding well to win his second outing. He rides in red. Max Frick, also a winner, second time out. He goes in blue. Bartosz Smektala, we know he's fast. He's in white off gate 3. And Alexander Brenton goes off the outside in yellow. So a good lineup there.
Another loaded race, as we've seen in heat 5 was good. Heat 10, so the combinations every 5 races, maybe. So now this is definitely a pretty exciting lineup.
Kasper Ruina inside. There is Max Frick, the defending series champion, in blue, with in white Bartosz Smektala and Alexander Brenton in yellow. Kasper Ruina there, ready to go on the inside gate. But they'll have to wait for Smektala, who's taking his time here at the start line. He has got plenty of time still on the 2 minutes.
Gate 3's good too. Dirt line's good in the first corner.
So heat number 10 at the start line, away they go, and Smektala in white does make a good start. He gets to the bend in front, and Smektala has the advantage here. Brenton with a big handle around the outside. Can he take points there off Frick? No, Max Frick comes through in the second, and Brenton is out of shape into the third bend. He's actually coming to a halt, so it's Frick in second with Verena in third, but Smektala only 2 points so far. That's not fully reflected because of course he fell when leading his first ride, and Smektala showing Frick the way home here.
Yeah, Max Frick just didn't get where he wanted to be in that first corner quick enough, and Smektala got a perfect advantage coming from gate 3. Perfect arc in the first corner, let the back wheel hit that middle track dirt and just pulled away. Frick tried to find that same line but got himself out of shape just a little bit, but now he's on the pace.
Yeah, Frick really attacking the circuit, trying to make ground back on Smektala, who race leads onto his last lap. Frick in second. Verena has been dropped off in third with the pace of the two up front. It should be Smektala here, but Max Frick now switching back to the inside on the final bend. Can he dive up the final turn? Going to be close to the line, but Smektala will hold on over Max Frick. Smektala wins it over Frick. A really good effort there by Max Frick on the last lap. He was trying the outside run for 3 laps, then he switched back on bends 3 and 4, couldn't quite make it through, and Bartosz Smektala therefore is the winner and putting himself right back into contention for a place in the semi-final should we get that far tonight, as he wins heat number 10 over Max Frick, and a confirmation that Smektala gets the win. Frick in second place, Casper Verena in third spot.
Yeah, well, it's a thinking's game now. You have to be technically good at setting the bike up, but equally technically good at getting the bike on the starting grid in the right place. We can see that Frick was in blue right up against gate number 3, and it was quite easy for Smektala to stay in his position. He had the nice arc in the first corner because he had dry conditions, I should say dryish for the back wheel to drive him right into the first corner. Max Frick then out of the start, trying to get in there, but just getting where he wanted. He's slipping and sliding all over the place, especially over the glassy stuff right there. Had to stand the bike up and kind of let it do its own thing. Lost a little bit of ground, but once he got his wheels in line, it then started pumping the back wheel and started pushing him forward. But then as the race was continuing, Max Frick was trying to find a perfect line, but he just got himself in a little bit of a predicament, lost a drive early on in this race, but then he picked up the pace and settled down and put a chase in, but didn't have enough laps at the end. As Smektala actually, perfect race for him, coming from gate 3 into that first corner, knew where to put the back wheel and pulled away from him.
Good recovery from Bartosz Smektala from a first ride crash to move on to 5 points. Now then, heat number 11, Brady Kurtz on 5 points, Maxim Drabik on 5 points, Jack Holder on 1, Andreas Lajaga on 5, and nobody has won from gate 2 so far, and that's where Maxim Drabik is here.
Yeah, he's already dropped 1 point, and wow, this is going to be Jack Holder's got plenty of points to gain from gate 3. It seems like the best place to be right at this current conditions.
Heat number 11, Kurtz on the inside, Drabik off gate 2, away they go, and Kurtz has beaten Drabik to the bend, and Drabik has a tangle there, almost with Jack Holder. Can he make it through? No, Drabik's going to go to the back here, because round the outside goes Andreas Lajaga, Jack Holder in third, and now what can Drabik do from the back? It's Brady Kurtz in front of what Drabik can do, is go down. Drabik is on the track, on the deck, he's going to try and clear the track, I think he'll do so, he's going to get some assistance, and the race will continue with Brady Kurtz out in front, second place Lajaga, and third Jack Holder.
Nice to see Brady Kurtz make the inside gate work right here. The victim of that outside slammy bit I spoke about earlier, I think that was Drabik. He got himself into all kinds of trouble. Look how high Kurtz is going now. Let the bike use that outside dirt. Whatever's out there, just got to be very cautious going into turns 3 because we know there's a wet spot there, but looking good, the Australian out in front.
Looking very good, Brady Kurtz out in front. Second place is with Lajaga. Third for Holder won't do him a great deal of good, but the first real setback in the series as far as Maxim Drabik is concerned, as Brady Kurtz wins heat number 11. Second place to Andreas Lajaga. Really solid, consistent night for him so far, and third for Jack Holder, and no points for the first time for Maxim Drabik. Didn't make the gate, another victim of gate 2, and found himself at the back early on, tried the move around the top turns, didn't work, came down. I can tell you he is far from happy as he stomps back to the pits. Kurtz with the win, Lajaga second, Holder third.
See what a race does? You can have one bad one and it just changes everything right there. Don't lose your focus. That's what it's about. And don't panic, because you got to be able to take those second places and not do it. Maxim Drabik from blue doesn't get himself in the first corner. He's dead last. He then says, right, I'm going to hug the inside to see if I can get there. The rest of the boys are finding traction on the outside of himself, especially Bradley Kurtz. Got himself into the front, right up to the dirt line where he needed to be. Dane then Andreas Lager finds a position, coming from that outside gate, swings around the outside there, leaves Jack Holder, the Australian, there to chase him down in third place. That's where they landed there, but Kurtz really found the drive. And then we can watch Dravik now. Goes in that high line, right where I say don't to go because it gets slippery there. You just don't know it's there. That comes down to experience, you know. You just don't know. When you're out there fighting your race, you think you're going to get a big line up in the high line right there. That's where the wet spot was. We've seen it earlier on. Instantly goes down, Dave. You've been talking about that wet spot the whole top of the show, and there's the first victim.
That's the first rider who went in that wide into the bend, and that's what happened. So
exactly.
Brady Kurtz, the winner, and he now leads the meeting. 8 points from 3 rides, so looking good for him. Heat 12, Edouard Krutschmar off the inside. Michael Hartel in blue, of course, he broke the tape second time out. Dimitri Berger in white, and Robert Lambert in yellow. We're looking to join 3 riders currently on the 7-point mark. He'll need to win from the outside here.
Yeah, big, tall order from Robert Lambert, the Englishman from Gate 4, but I think that's a good place to be. The Frenchman just inside of him, though. He's been having not such a bad run, really confident. The local guy, Michael Hartel, is going to be coming from them, too. Can he do anything with Krishmar on that inside? Let's see what they can do.
Here we go with heat number 12, and Lambert off the outside. Can he make it to the bend? He's beaten to the bend by Krutschmar, who leads. Lambert goes wide. On the inside in white comes Berger, but Krutschmar has the advantage. Berger in second. Lambert will turn back going into the bend. Lambert switched back very early. Can he make it down the inside here? He can try and move across on Dimitri Berger, who holds second place, but it's the lead is with Edouard Krutschmar in red. It's Berger chasing hard second, and Lambert couldn't quite make the outside work in third.
No, the check's out. Van Kirschmar's got this one wrapped up right there. It was really nice to see Berger actually use his head there and tucks back in the inside right there. Lambert just didn't get off that outside gate enough to be able to get into the corners with these guys. So say Kirschmar throws the tear off. He's got clean eyes now to finish off his race.
Krutschmar with 1 lap to go for what would be a second win of the meeting. Finished last in his previous ride, but looking good here. Edouard Krutschmar holding back the challenge of Dimitri Berger with Lambert in third. He just lost ground, Lambert, after a real effort on the first lap. Can't make it through, and Edouard Krutschmar wins heat 12, completing the third set of qualifying races. Krutschmar over Berger with Lambert in third place, and Edouard Krutschmar moves on to 6 points from 3 rides. 12 heats completed, and with only very light rain falling, only 4 more races required to guarantee a result here in Güstrow tonight, and a good result there for Edouard Krutschmar in heat 12. He wins it. Dimitri Berger in second place, and Robert Lambert in third.
Yeah, the Czech Republican rider from that inside gate, and I got to give him some credit. The whole night he's been looking fairly useful on these difficult conditions, and I really thought Robert Lambert was going to be able to use that outside gate to his advantage. He was right up against the fence. He dumped the clutch, and the rest of the boys got the inside. Lambert almost got there, but he's so deep, and he just didn't compose himself good enough to stay with them. And there was a long way to go for Kirschmar to be able to come from that inside to the dirt line. And as soon as his bike got into that dirt in the first corner, he started pulling away from these guys. And the Frenchman, equally trying to find track position, get in the first corner, made the big cut back up the inside, was able to follow Kirschmar and around the first corner. And they pretty much landed their blows early on right here. And Lambert had no answer. He tried the inside, he tried the outside, but there was no way. He ran out of time. Over the white line with his front wheel, couldn't find any extra drive down low, pretty much had to give it up. The race was pretty much over there. Heat 12 was won by the Czech Republic man, looking good from the inside gate. Yep,
Krutschmar puts himself into the top 8 on 6 points at this stage. The tractor is back on the circuit, and track grading before heat 13, but we've had completed 12. They've all completed 3 rides so far. The crowd with their coats, their waterproofs, everything on that's been required throughout the day, and those that managed to get their spaces on the home straight staying in the dry. So 12 gone here, all had 3 rides, and we have Brady Kurtz out in front on 8 points at this stage. Brady Kurtz 8 from 3. Then we have 3 riders on 7 points. You're about to see the standings coming up on screen here. The tractor going round bends 3 and 4. Kurtz on 8, Dominic Cabrera, Max Frick and Andreas Lager all on 7. Krutschmar on 6 after that victory in his previous ride. And Dravik, Smektala, Lambert, Vorina and Berger are all on 5. So quite a scramble going to be going on for the final places in the semi-finals again, should we get that far. But Brady Kurtz looking good. He's got 8 points so far, and he now leads the meeting by a point.
It's not a bad place to be. He seems, when I went into pits talking to the guys, and the Australians is one of the camps that I hung out in there, and at the same time, Jack Holder was in there, and then Ty Whiffman showed up, and they're just having a joke and a laugh, and I'm trying to get a little insight to see what they're going to think about the conditions and obviously the weather that played its big part. Let's get on with it. This is what we're here for. Let's have some racing. Let's go for it. And when you're focused and you're in a positive mode, and you get out there and you got a little influence of maybe somebody like obviously we know that Jack Holder's brother here is in the pits, and we know Ty Wolfenden's hanging around too. So they got a little bit of support. So it's paying off.
I was going to mention. I mean, obviously there are more of the great and the good of the Grand Prix series here tonight there would have been, because Grand Prix practice was rained off in Testero, so they've all made their way here. It's only probably half an hour at most by road, so there are quite a lot of riders, officials and staff and whatever here from the Grand Prix series. If you were a young rider in this meeting, Sam, taking you back in the day, would you be seeking out one of the senior men to try and get a bit of advice in these sort of conditions, which doubtless they've experienced before?
I think what you would do is you'd place yourself around them and wait for that to come, because at this level, second round of an under-21 World Championship, you got to know a little bit about what you're doing. And we're just looking at Robert Lambert's pits there. So you really rely on your team, actually. Your team, your mechanics, to kind of give you that moral support. They're the ones that are with you all the time when you're in conditions, racing and league racing, championships and so forth. What you would hope for is that a senior rider would come along and give you that casual chat, and then they might recognize something and it will just come out naturally more than, hey, what do I do? If you're asking what do I do, that's
we're in a world final already. So
yeah, exactly. You don't want to give that. That's almost like showing your weakness. If you know what I mean, you want to say, I'm here to do my job, and they might say, well, you know what you got going on out there, and then you say, yeah, I hope so, and they'll say, well, look out for this. Well, we just seen one of the best riders in the series so far go out there and get it wrong, and that we've been talking about it up here, looking at what we're doing. So, as a senior rider, you would be in the pit saying, watch that corner, don't panic, and that's the key when you're in a series. Don't panic. Take your seconds, take your thirds, even if you have to, but always try to get your win. Conditions today are very difficult, so don't overreach. Don't cost yourself sitting on your butt side, and that's exactly what he did.
Just to tell you how things stand overall at this point, because we are basically halfway through the series at this point. Maxim Drabik now leads the series by 4 points. He's got 26 points. Max Frick has 22. Bartosz Schmechtala has 20, so he is clawing himself back into contention despite the crash in his first ride. He's on 20. Kibera is on 17, with Andreas Berger on 15, and 3 riders on 14. Kostigovs, Kurtz and Lambert. More bike work going on here now in the Kibera camp, I think that is.
Yeah, well, this is a matter of making sure the chains are all nice and oiled, and that can fail on a rider as easy as it finishes a race. And it comes down to this wet conditions sometimes dry things out. They constantly got oil going over the top of the chains to keep them lubricated, to cool them down. But just noting on those points, Maxim Drabik at 26, he's only got a 4-point lead now with Max Frick coming up. And he had 6 points coming into this event. So see how costly that was. Sliding down.
Especially if he misses out on the semi-final on the night, and that would then give Frick and others potentially extra 2 rides to claw even more points back. So 6, as I answered the earlier question, 6 was never going to be enough to guarantee anything.
So that's where you have to have your thinking head on, and you got to be reminded when you're going out there. Racers want to win everything. Right now they're sitting there focusing on what they got to do. They got to be reminded sometimes of the position they're in. There'll be a guy coming out of the inside in red, somebody coming out yellow. They've already would have thought that through, but at the same time, the important thing is don't lose sight on getting a point. If you can get 2, great. Don't always get 1. 2's good, a win's great, but it all happens as soon as the tapes go up. You start working out your best positions, and when you panic or try something that is unknown, as I would say Maxim Drabik did, was up on that high line. Sorry to look back at it, but he was the leader coming in here. And like I say, let's hope it doesn't play against him. But the riders are sitting right now ready to come down that ramp to start the bike.
There's a big race coming up, Sam. You look at this lineup.
Absolutely.
Lambert, Varina, Leaga and Kibera. These are all 4 who can certainly make it.
Now is the time when a senior rider, you would hope, that will be rubbing your elbow or shoulder. if I was a rider coming down that ramp right now, a senior rider was standing there looking at me, I'd be going, right, he's looking at me. I better go out there and not make any mistakes, you know what I mean? Because he's focused on me. And now the senior rider is going to be watching going down that ramp, getting that start line. These guys are all eager to do well. But at the same time, they want to gain the respect from the riders that are watching them and their competitors even. So it's pretty important to have that kind of mental confidence. At the same time, go out there and play the game the right way and don't panic.
Senior riders have all been there and done it and won it. There's a very distinguished list of people who have won this series over the years. A couple of double winners, Emil Saifudinov and Darcy Ward, winning it in successive years, 2007-08 and then 2009-10 respectively. The likes of Maciej Janowski, who's challenging for a world title this year, Patrick Dudek likewise, Piotr Pawlicki, Bartosz Szmalzik. They've all been recent winners of this series, and generally if you win this one, you really get noticed and you kick on from it. And some very good riders have not quite managed to win this series, but it is obviously a real kickstart. And there's Robert Lambert in red.
Yeah, you got to be the complete package. It's hard to do, but at the same time, don't grow with too much confidence. Take your time and go out there and earn it. And these guys are at the right place. This is a very difficult track conditions. Look at how far back that start line is. Yeah. Conventionally, you start in the middle of the straightaway. There's a drag race to the first corner. Heat 13 coming up. These guys all want to get there first.
Fourth set of rides for each of these. As long as we get through this without a deluge, we've still got the steady drizzle, the drizzle blustering around, but as long as we get through this set, then we will get a result in tonight's meeting, whatever happens. Lambert off the inside, Verina off gate 2, Leaga gate 3, and Kubera goes off the outside in yellow. The inside two have got 5 points to their name. The outside two have both got 7 points to their name. Here we go with a very important heat 13, and it's Lambert off the inside and Verina in blue, and Lambert gets there just in front of Verina, and Lambert race leads, takes Verina wide off turn 2. Really good first bend move there by Robert Lambert. He leads from Verina. The third place is with Leaga Kubera at the back, and the two riders with 5 points here are way out in front of the two who started with 7. Lambert in front of Verina, third place Andreas Leaga.
I would love to know that Lambert made a change in the pits, because that's a different bike. It was so much more aggressive. Come from that inside gate, got him into the first corner. Verina, okay, was right along with him, but as soon as Lambert hit that dirt, the bike started pulling away, and he's starting to stretch his lead.
This is very impressive indeed from Robert Lambert down in front of Kasper Verina, and riding much wider than we've seen others do in the meeting so far. Onto his last lap, it's Lambert over Verina with Leaga in third, and Dominic Kubera with 7 points so far, set to miss out here in this race and no score. So Robert Lambert right back in contention in the meeting. Lambert wins heat 13, second place Kasper Verina with Andreas Leaga in third and Kubera at the back, and that was all about a brilliant first bend by Robert Lambert out there with Kasper Verina, who was challenging. We've seen people nip round the outside on turn 2, but Lambert always had the high ground there. He just eased his man out and then ran off and raced off for a convincing victory. Lambert over Verina, Leaga in third place.
Yeah, I'd almost put my money on that Andreas Leaga or Dominic Kubera would be the ones that would have got that first corner first. But again, like I said, the setup is so important, and if you're focused on that little bit of an edge, look at right here, Robert Lambert on the inside of red. Look at this bike lip. I noted that earlier on that one of the riders, just the front wheel was on the ground the whole way through. He just spun, but Lambert's bike pulled him into that first corner, and he had a perfect opportunity to take advantage of being able to put Kasper Verina out of the way, pushing him up high. There was half a chance that Verina would have been a little bit deeper. He might have grabbed a little bit more traction and got over the top of Lambert, but Lambert ran a really smart race. And after he got himself going down the back straightaway of the first lap, he was able to let the bike go reach out. The changing conditions of this Güstrow 298-meter racetrack is coming to the riders, and if you're clever, you can just let that back wheel and your bike muscle your way around the racetrack, and the Englishman did that quite well. Lambert
gets his second win of the meeting to move on to 8 points. Heat 14, Alexander Brentin with 3 of the inside. It's Kruchmar in blue. He's got 6 two-race wins. He's shown himself to be quite quick out the start, but gate 2 is still yet to win a race. Brady Kurtz in white off gate 3, the meeting leader with 8 points. Could be well placed here, Brady Kurtz, for another win. And Lucas Fienhauser goes off the outside, yet to score so far. So it does look to be stacked up here in Brady Kurtz's favour.
I would say so, especially after they've graded the racetrack, and now we've had a race underneath won already, and the conditions are really nice where the racing line. See where the starting marshal is, just inside. You can see that dirt line. That's the place to be. Brady Kurtz will be coming out of that box, getting to that dirt line first, where it's a little bit drier conditions. The bike will start working. He's just got to make sure he gets into the corner right good. But on the inside, Rudin can be there as well, right up on the inside of him. You just never know in racing.
Heat 14, the rider in white, Brady Kurtz, and the red lights are on. What is going on here? The red lights are on from the referee. The 2-minute warning is on. And I'm not sure what the referee spotted was wrong. There's something... Was he not happy with Brady Kurtz's start position? I'm not too sure. But they're now coming back into line.
Well, we heard this referee's pretty stern. Could you echo that one there, mister?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. No nonsense.
Oh, look at the shower. Still coming out. It's still light. It looks a little bit heavier, but they did say, hey, there's me and you. I just seen us in the pits. You're a star there for a second.
Thank you, Sam. Yeah, well, we'll just prove we are here. Anyway, Heat 14 is now ready to go. Brenton, Krutschmar, Kurtz and Fienhager, and they're at the start line and they're away. And Kurtz in white off gate 3 is going to get across Krutschmar and get the advantage. Brenton in second. Krutschmar gets out of shape and gets passed by Fienhager, who's now trying to send one down the inside of Brenton on turn 3 and 4. Kurtz out in front to race. Always looked good for him. Well wide off the outside. Brenton did well to control that and still maintain second place. That was an exciting moment for Alexander Brenton.
With a little bit of a shower coming down, as it's been all consistently, the middle of the track where they've been riding on is really greasy. The outside line where Brady Kurtz is the place you got to be. You got to be up in the high line to get a smooth line. Look how he's pulled away from the rest of the pack.
Brady Kurtz riding superbly in this meeting. If he can bring this one home, he'll be on 11 points from 4 rides. He's making fast starts. He's riding the right lines on the circuit, and he's got the advantage in what's not quite the heaviest of races in terms of the real big hitters, but he's still dominating it. Second place is Brenton. Fienhager's going to pick up his first points of the meeting as Krutschmar is going to run a last place once again. But Brady Kurtz, the winner of Heat 14. An exciting second for Brenton, who certainly explored parts of track that no one has seen before. He takes the second place. Fienhager off the mark with third place in yellow for 1 point, and Krutschmar has gone win last. So it's really all or nothing for him so far tonight. He is left on 6 points from 4 rides. But Brady Kurtz, his third win of the meeting, takes him on to 11. Brenton in second place, and Fienhager came through for third.
Yeah, well thought out gate number 3 start there from Brady Kurtz to be able to make the start count, which he did. The bike launches and he gets into the corner pretty much picking where he wants to be. Cuts it down really low, then he lets the bike drift up nice and easy. As soon as he touches that outside line right there against the fence going into turn 3, he was on his way. The rest of the boys then just battle for it. Here's another view. 101 on his back with the white helmet color. That's Brady Kurtz, the Australian, really picking the perfect line, getting through the first corner, was able to let that bike do the work, and he just stretched away from the rest of the pack. The minor places were being negotiated. Very slick on the inside, getting all kinds of trouble right there from Britain, only because you're spinning, you're rolling the throttle off, and the thing lifts, and then you have to recompose yourself. A little bit of dirt on the outside puts him back into his right place to be on the racetrack. But difficult conditions, but the Australian here planned that one and executed that one quite well.
Really pushing on with the meeting. Heat 15 riders already out the starting tapes, and Venice Costegos rides in red, Jack Holder rides in blue. Not been his night so far, really. All went wrong with the Heat 1 spill on the way into the bend. He's never really recovered. Dimitri Berger rides in white, and Max Frick, the man trying to chase down Maxim Drabic, he's off the outside here in yellow, and Max Frick can put a bit of pressure here on Drabic if he can win this Heat 15.
Absolutely. Sitting on 7 points from the outside gate. The rain is, we can almost call it rain now. It's a little bit more than a drizzle. I don't think it's going to affect the riders too much. It's only going to affect the conditions of the racetrack, really. Got to be on the outside or the very inside.
Heat 15 up the start line, and Max Frick has made it off gate 4. Really good start, tight going in as 3 go together, and down on the inside goes Costegos. He went by himself trying to push Holder and Berger, and he's going to try and clear the track. He is up on the way. He's pushing the bike clear. So Max Frick continues to race lead. Dimitri Berger in second place, Holder in third. I thought for a moment there that 3 would go down on the first bend. In the end, it was just Costegos, and it's good news for Max Frick out in front.
Yeah, like I said, get to that outside line, let that cushion hold the bike up, keep it straight, make it consistent as possible being there. On the inside, as slippery as can be because the drizzle is turning into a little bit of rain. It's slippery on that inside, but when you're touching that dirt line, the bike does stay consistent.
And Max Frick moves on to his last lap. If he wins this race, he's going to within 1 point of Maxim Drabic, who has a race in hand. That'll be coming up next, but Max Frick is certainly not giving up on defending his World Under-21 Championship title. Frick round turns 3 and 4 to win race number 15. He heads home. Dimitri Berger in second place. And Jack Holder gets the point for third, but it's not what he would have wanted. Jack Holder 11 points in Poznan, but only 3 so far tonight. So any title hopes are being well and truly washed away here in the wet and wild Güstrow German evening. It's a win for Max Frick, second Dimitri Berger, and third Jack Holder.
Yeah, it's all about not making mistakes, not trying to get the setup right. Whatever Jack Holder's challenges are, they're not coming together for him. You emphasize the fact he's had such a bad run. He has only got a point in his last 3 races in each one of the races. But his fellow Australian, Max Frick, defending world champion, you see right there that Güstrow goes down. Slippery conditions on that very inside. He wasn't even really in the race. He got in there, let the bike stand up straight up, and then got in it. But Frick, the other hand, made the start, got himself into the right part of the racetrack to get that bike to help him get into the corner, into the first turn, let the bike drift up wide as we've seen. Unfortunately, the guy in red goes down, but Frick, no challenges with the racetrack whatsoever, and attacked that outside line, working good for him.
So Max Frick on to 10 this evening, on to 25 in the series, and that's just 1 short of Maxim Drabic, who goes off the inside in red in heat number 16. There he is, Maxim Drabic with 5 so far on the night. Patrick Hansen goes in blue, Michael Hartel goes in white, and it is Bartosz Smektala riding in yellow 5 that should really have been 8, bearing in mind he was in front in the early stage of his first ride when he came to grief. So we've just seen Frick do it off the outside in his previous ride. Let's see what Smektala, who is quick, can do here off gate 4.
If we have a huge shower right now, this could be the end of the meeting, if you know what I mean. So these points all count. Bartosz Smektala on 5, coming from that outside gate, and then you got Maxim Drabic on 5 as well, but he's still the points leader on 26, 1 over Max Frick on the inside. They're going to come together in the first corner.
Well, let's hope they don't quite, but heat 16 gets underway, and Smektala has nailed it from the outside. What a start by Bartosz Smektala. He's got the better of Maxim Drabic. Battle on for third, with Hartel going through past Patrick Hansen, and now he'll try and turn back on 3 and 4. Hansen again trying to hit back. It's really tight for second, third and fourth, because Drabic not convincing there in that spot, but Smektala has the lead. Drabic now moving clear in second place. Third is Hartel, and that gate number 4 really coming to these riders.
Yeah, I'd say coming to the riders because you're in the dirt line going all the way to the first corner, and it's not a long way to go, where Drabic had to come from that inside gate position, go across the slippery bit of the racetrack and get into that dirt stuff, and that's pretty much how they landed, and that's the pace they're setting right now. Both of them in the dirt, but it was all about getting to the dirt first, and that was the difference right there.
Really wide, Michael Hartel off the fourth bend. That's giving a chance for Patrick Hansen to come through in the race for third place, but way out in front is Bartosz Smektala, who will move on to 8 points this evening after his first ride crash. It's a really good recovery as Smektala wins it. Second place is Drabic. Third place is Hartel, Hansen at the back. 16 heats gone here in Güstrow. That means we will get a result. I have to say, great credit, fair play to the organisers and most particularly the riders. We've done 16 heats here in an hour and 25 minutes. That's a great effort in these conditions. Heat 16, Smektala, Drabic, Hartel, the race results.
And if you were to go on the race results now, if we did, we're not going to wish upon rain coming right now. Smektala will finish up third overall with Kurtz the winner.
Frick second.
That's Frick second. But in round 1 in Poznan, I can tell you that Smektala really struggled, was consistently throwing points at it, only had 1 race win, but finished off coming second overall in the final, got himself there. So he's come good at the end here in this heat number 16, used that outside gate, made it happen right there, but the series leader on the inside was Drabic on the red helmet color right there, couldn't get to the dirt quick enough. By the time he did hit the dirt, he was able to start chasing down the same pace as Smektala, but the distance was already conquered coming out of that outside gate. Just drove himself into the first corner. The race winner of number 16, Bartosz Smektala, taking it from the start to the finish, and the series leader chasing down that second place. At least he didn't fall down in this race. He was a victim of that turns 3 wet scratch up on the high line. This time he sensibly finished it and got 2 points out of it.
Indeed, 2 points for Drabic, taking him on to 7. He is in the top 8 of the meeting at this stage, but they've all got one more ride to come, assuming we get those races. At the moment, there's no suggestion that we won't. The rain is not particularly heavy, and the track certainly hasn't been dramatically affected. So, as I say, there's no reason why we shouldn't get the next group of 4 races. And it just shows when there's a will, there's a way. And we haven't, thankfully, had a mad rush of crashes, but everyone's got on with it, run it quickly, and we've got through to a result.
So, do you know anything about the forecast for tomorrow at the Grand Prix?
What they were saying is that the weather will improve during the day tomorrow, and they're hoping that they're going to get clear conditions by, say, mid-afternoon, and then in that case the Grand Prix should be okay. Now, Tetro did not have covers, so it's taken on a great deal of water today, and there's probably more coming overnight and in the morning, so they'll still have a job on, but fingers crossed they can do that job.
Yeah, I did hear rumors that the track was really very saturated, and they're hoping that they'll be able to scrape it off and make a decent track. I love the venue there. It's such a unbelievable venue because it's out in the forest, and then you come over walk over the top of the hills, and then there's lights and there's a stadium, and it's just amazing what they've done. But again, the senior riders tomorrow could be facing similar conditions if that forecast gets wrong.
And that could really shake up the title race.
Absolutely.
So conditions.
This track is very difficult the best of times because it's got such a round. Just look at it. We're looking at the line of the racers. It's just a big circle. There's no real big straightaway. Only down the back straightaway they actually get the bike straight at all, and then you can go into turns 3, and you got to turn it kind of hard in turn 3. Then it's a gradual arc all the way around till you get back down, coming off of turns 2 again. So it's unconventional, but it is a speedway track, and there's champions that are going to be made by learning how to ride these kind of conditions. And what better place to do it? Second round of the under-21s 2017. Some of the riders aren't having their own way. Mother Nature's played its part, but still it's been very exciting so far.
They've all had 4 rides, 16 races completed, and Brady Kurtz leads the meeting on 11 points with Max Frick on 10. Bartosz Schmechthaler, Robert Lambert and Andreas Leaga, they've all got 8, and there are 4 riders on 7 with Kibera, Drabic, Vorina and Dimitri Berger all on 7. At the moment, Berger is outside the top 8 because he's not won a race yet. Kibera's won 2 races, Drabic and Vorina have won 1 apiece. So as things stand there, Berger would miss out if that situation was maintained after Heat 20.
Yeah, Heat 17, Berger's on the outside coming in that one, but they just graded the racetrack.
Against Kubera, Kurtz and Schmechthaler.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. Give me a second. But the outside gate, but they just graded it, so it's not going to have that little bit of what we call a berm. We use that term where the back wheel's got a little bit extra dirt, so it's going to be leveled up a little bit.
There's confirmation of how things stand. Kurtz and Frick and Schmechthaler, Lambert and Leaga all looking good with 11, 10 and 8 respectively. Several riders on 7 points, completing the top 8, and Berger just outside there in 9th place on the countback with 3 second places but no race win so far, and a big Heat 17 as Sam mentioned to come. And overall in the series, after 4 races apiece here tonight, Maxim Drabic on 28 points. His 6-point lead coming into Güstrow has been halved. Drabic on 28, Frick on 25, Schmechthaler on 23, and then Kurtz, Lambert and Kibera, they are all on 17 at this point. So Drabic did come here 6 points in front. He's seen that now cut to 3.
And I would say Schmechthaler has actually come good, hasn't he? He's got 5 points, and that's not bad. He was sitting on 15 points, quite 6 points behind. He was the guy who was lying in second place coming into this one. But still, he's getting closer on points way. He's just got an Australian between them.
Bearing in mind that, like Drabic, Schmechthaler threw away points in his first ride when he came down. So he could also be a lot closer. But they're going again to a completely different track in Pardubice at the end of September, where hopefully we'll have dry conditions, and it could be all to rifle between at least 3.
Another different track. Polsnan was a nice big track. We had conditions of the rain, but still it was conventional, long straightaways, nice big arc corners. It was maybe not perfect for the riders at this level. I don't think that the senior riders would have loved it because there was nice grippy pits all the way around it. Some of the riders here were caught out, but Pardubice we're going to be going to for the last round, end of the month. It's just a big, slick track. You can put 7 or 8 riders on the start line there. It's so wide. They normally only have no more than 6, but in some of the big races, which is following on like the Golden Hammer race, Golden Helmet race. That's one. But big flat track, and you got to have good equipment and make good starts.
Big Heat 17 on the way. Dominic Cabrera rides in red off the inside, 7 points so far. Brady Kurtz, the meeting leader, on 11, but in a big race on the gate that no one wants. He is on gate 2 in blue. Bartosz Smektala in white with 8, and Dimitri Berger there in yellow with 7. So can Kurtz do what nobody else has done so far?
Again, I will emphasize the fact that, you got to change your setup sometimes. And if Kurtz has made that bike a little bit more aggressive, you got to start. The ways of doing that is shorten up the back wheel a little bit. So you bring the back wheel closer to the engine, so when the clutch goes, the weight gets loaded on the back wheel a little bit more and it launches, but it then becomes very aggressive on the racetrack. You can't lean back so much because it will rear. So if you do make that adjustment, you got to ride a little bit more tactfully. But if you can get to the first corner and hit that dirt, we know that the dirt plays a big part. Freshly groomed racetrack right now. The guys on the outside might not have as big as advantage as they've had when you get to like the second and the third race of a groomed racetrack. There's Phil Morris,
yes,
the track coordinator for the Grand Prix, is watching on. But a very interesting race right here. Let's see what Kurtz can do with it.
8:17, Kurtz, the meeting leader, goes in blue here. Away they go, and he's made quite a good start. He's made a very good start. Brady Kurtz has the race lead. He's the dominant force tonight, no question. Smektala turning back, and they're going to go level into the third bend. There's not too much room there. Brady Kurtz has the lead for now, but Smektala will try the inside run off the fourth bend. Still Kurtz over Smektala. It's Berger in third place with Cabrera out the back, and Brady Kurtz certainly wants this meeting. Nobody has won from gate 2 so far, and he leads Smektala.
Picture perfect ride there from the Australian. The bike got him to the first corner. He had to negotiate getting into the dirt quick with Smektala on his backside coming off of turn 2 in the dirt both at the same time, but Kurtz's bike pulled him off. Very good turn in 3 and 4 the first lap, put him in this position.
So frustrating for Kurtz that he had that injury that he was having to ride around and ride with in the first meeting in Poznan, because he really is stepping up to the mark here in Güstrow. It's Brady Kurtz round turns 3 and 4 to beat Smektala and move on to 14 points in the meeting as he wins Heat 17. Brady Kurtz over Bartosz Smektala with Dimitri Berger in third, and that probably won't be enough for him because he hasn't won a race, and Dominic Cabrera's night comes to an end as well, almost certainly with 7. So there's confirmation that Brady Kurtz, the winner of Heat 17. Moving on to 14, Smektala is on 10. That should be enough for a place in the top 8, no question about that. Berger in third and Cabrera out the back.
Impressive win from Brady Kurtz. Nobody's won off gate 2. The pressure was on him to be able to go out there and continue his good form at this part of the race meeting. Heat number 17. He's lining up on gate 2, dumps the clutch. The bike just pulls him consistently to the first corner. Equally, Bartosz Smektala was with him going to the corner. Bartosz Smektala turns back on the inside, but Kurtz is in the high line where the dirt was, which basically took the line away from Smektala, because that's where he would like to have been. And Kurtz was in the right place at the right time. They were very close going into turn 3. The slippy conditions up there, he's not deep enough for that. Just kept the pressure on Smektala by leaning in on him going into 3 and basically clinched the race in that first lap. Impressive ride. Sitting on 3 race wins on 14 points, not a bad place to be.
Very impressive. Brady Kurtz, 14 from 5, dropped his only point in heat number 8 to Kasper Vorina. Here we go with heat 18. The rider in white there is Robert Lambert, 8 points from 4 riders, looking to secure a place in the semi-finals here. Maxim Drabik off the inside in red, needs points to make sure himself to continue with the pressure being applied by Frick and Smektala. Drabik off the inside, Brenton gate 2, Lambert gate 3, and Kostios off the outside.
Another formula here, another thinking game right now. Drabik on the inside, very difficult to get in that first corner. Lambert, I think, got his bike set up basically spot on last time, really close to gate number 2 as Lambert lines up. He wants to make sure he can get over Drabik in the first corner to see if he can get to the dirt first.
Heat number 18 then gets underway, and Drabik made a great one from the inside. He got there in front of Lambert, and bike left clear. Lambert switched back to the inside, and Lambert very cleverly inside. Drabik, they'll go neck and neck, and Drabik back round him off the second bend. Lambert did make a quick switch. Now Drabik really wide off bends 3 and 4. Lambert follows him on that line with Kostigos in third place, Brenton out the back, but Maxim Drabik here leads Robert Lambert. Made a perfect start there off the inside.
Series leader, mission accomplished. Coming from the inside gate, Aggressive bike, let the bike run into the first corner, got to the dirt first over Lambert, coming out of gate 3, doesn't have the same pace now, executed quite rapidly. Good move here, Mr. Mazik-Drabic, that was so awesome.
Should be enough for both riders to progress to the semi-finals here. They'll both go on to 10 if things stay as they are. Battle on for third place with Brenton trying to make his way past Kostigov. They got tight there on the turns 1 and 2, but Kostigov still maintains that third place for now. But Maxim Drabic had a fall earlier in the meeting. He's hit back from that. He wins heat 18 from Robert Lambert, and the third place goes to Kostigov's over Brenton. So Drabic gets a race victory, started off with a win and completes his set of 5 rides with victory there as well, and finishes with 10, the same total as Robert Lambert. So Drabic very much in contention once again here tonight. Drabic over Lambert, Kostigov's in third place over Wenton.
Not a heck of a lot of passing going on this oval, I would say, but a lot of thinking going on. And I just love it whenever the combinations come together. You know, the riders got to think, and they're young, they're all under 21 or maybe just hitting that spot, but Maxim Drabic on the inside had to get to that dirt first. He made the start, left the whole inside open for Robert Lambert's cutback. Robert Lambert could not get traction off that turns 2, resorted to getting, pretty much wrapped up in the race, but just well thought out and executed very good. I would say the pole knew exactly what he wanted to do. Turns the bike into the corner, nice and easy. Lambert on the inside, trying to get some traction. Very, very difficult on that inside line to get it. Coming off of turns 2. Maxim Drabic just easily hits that dirt, lets the bike do the work, enjoys the ride, clinches 3 points. Not a bad place to be. The series leader is now on 31 points.
Drabic on to 31, so Max Frick will look to respond in his last ride of the regular meeting. That'll be coming up in heat 20. Heat 19 first up, Jack Holder on the inside, 3 points so far. Kasper Verina in blue with 7. Krutschmar, 2 wins and 2 lasts on 6, and Patrick Hansen in yellow with 2. So Verina in blue, as we've said, not the favoured gate, but it could be a favoured race for him.
Edward Krishmar is the one that's got to make this one count, doesn't he?
When he makes the start, he tends to win.
Yeah, he does. If he can, well, I think the recipe's there for him. He's just got to make it happen right now. Holder on that inside, but he's got Verona right next to him, getting all set to get out of the gate 2. There's only been 1 race winner underneath that starting.
Kasper Verina in blue, away they go, and he's not made a good start at all. It's a good start by Jack Holder, his best one of the meeting. Verina coming charging through on the inside in blue, but in white it's Krutschmar who's going to try and go past Holder. Holder has the lead. Verina's going very wide indeed on turns 3 and 4, and it's too wet out there still, and Verina could go to the back, picks up more speed to get back round Patrick Hansen. It's Holder in front, it's Krutschmar in second, and Verina riding the wheel of his bike trying to get through to the second spot.
Nice job from Holder. Inside gate, worked him, got him to the corner, went straight to the dirt. Very vulnerable coming off a turn. Kirschmore could have easily have snatched that if he could have just got a little bit more traction off too. But as Holder, the Australian, stretches his lead, looks like there's enough cushion there for him to get away with this heat number 19 race win.
Looks like some consolation coming up here for Jack Holder in heat 19 after a really tough night. It started off with a crash on the way to the first bend in heat 1. He's going to finish off with what he wanted to do tonight. He's really riding well here in heat 19, but it won't be enough to continue in the meeting. It's going to be a win for Holder. There's a mistake on the last bend though for Krutschmar, who goes down very heavily indeed, and that does also hand second place to Kasper Verina and third to Patrick Hansen, and that was an awkward landing, an awkward fall for Krutschmar, who just seemed to lift coming off the fourth bend. The bike spat him off the other way. He's sat up on track at the moment talking to the medical staff, the track staff. Medics are joining him now, and that's ended Krutschmar's chances. It leaves him on 6 points, but let's hope he's going to be okay first and foremost after an unusual looking incident there off the final bend. He's yards from the finish line. Yeah,
it silenced the crowd. You can hear a pin drop right in the moment. The way he spun that bike around, and he just was very awkwardly went
and he's
down
going to get to his feet.
Nice
good to see.
Excellent.
And he gets a great round of applause too by the crowd, who do appreciate what they've seen tonight from these riders in difficult conditions.
Absolutely.
Holder the winner, Verina second, Hansen third.
Well, Jack Holder definitely attacked the racetrack. Whether he set his bike up different or he had a talking to in the pits, one or the other, whatever's happened. Come from that inside gate, that thing launched. He parked right up against the white line, whether that was a fresh spot to come out of. The bike really got him into the dirt quite rapidly. He was under a little bit of pressure, but not much. from Kirschmar that was in the white coming off of gate number 3. Verona on the outside in the blue was trying to do the Dane Patrick Hansen on the outs on the very last place coming from gate 4, which you thought maybe he might have a chance to get there. But the Australian Holder gets himself into the first turn first, hits that dirt line down the back straightaway. The bike does the work, pulls him away from Kirschmar, which is ends up falling on the deck at the end of this heat number 19. We'll get to those pictures, I'm sure, in a second. He's trying everything to take pace, but he gets a little bit of traction and then turns it and spins the bike over, and it just awkwardly shoots him off the bike. Yeah, he just rolled the throttle off at the same time because he had to correct that right there. Turns the bike, launches. Typical kind of amateur kind of fall, but at the same time, the best riders in these difficult conditions can look like amateurs. There's nothing to do with them. It's just survival. But Holder, 3 points, picked something up at the end. He only had 3 points before that, and he finished off on 6 points. Yep,
he gets 6 for the night. Now that he's not happy with what's happened, obviously, this evening. That crash has cost Kutschmar a place in the semi-final. He would have been comfortably in the top 8 on 8 points, the way things have shaken out. As it is, he will not. Heat 20 comes next, and it is Max Frick off the inside in red with 10. He has qualified for the semi, but needs to pick up more points on Drabik. It's Lajaga Hansen going in blue, who is also going to make the semi-final, because Fjernhager in white and Harto in yellow are not going to make the semis. So we do know our lineup for the semi-finals, and Frick and Lajaga will both be in there.
Yeah, well, Max Frick now, I mean, I just seen Holder come right up against the white line coming out of the gate number 1. It looks like Frick's going to be more the middle. He's trying to figure out where he's going to be. We're just looking at the guy in blue right now. That's Lager. Lager just started marshals there between them. They're from Finland on that, just on the gate number 3. But interesting to see where the current world champion Max Frick will come from. He's going to come just inside of gate box 1.
So heat number 20 gets underway, and Frick off the inside made a lovely start. Max Frick gets the first bend in front. In second place is the rider in blue, Andreas Lajaga, with Harto. Made quite a go from the outside, didn't quite get across, and he is in third with Fjernhager out the back. Max Frick has to lead then onto his second lap, once again trying to respond to a race win from Maxim Drabik, keeping him in contention in the series, picking up real power and having to control the bike there on turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, well, Frick's enjoying his ride, I would say, but just don't get overconfident. He's up in the high line, getting an easy ride, pulling away from the rest of the riders in this heat number 20, the final race of the points grabbing opportunities, and Frick's looks like he's going to land the 3 very critical points.
Well, he's got trouble. Well, he's done so well to stop on there.
See what I mean? You just can't get overconfident. You got to back off a little bit, but then again, that could be good for later if he needs it.
Attack the track, absolutely, but he very nearly attacked himself into the fence there on the 4th bend, so a much more conservative line that time around turns 3 and 4, and Max Frick wins heat 20, adds 3 more points to his total. Lajaga in second place, Hartel in third, with Fjernhager out the back, and Max Frick, a rather nervous moment there, but fair play. The skill of a great motorcyclist. He got himself into trouble, and he also got himself out of trouble.
Well, that'll teach him a bit of a lesson. He'll know what's out there next time if he wants to go battling for that line and gets to the semi-final stages, which we're approaching us next. But Max Frick, come from the inside gate. He made it work. He dumped that clutch and kept a low line, and did the traditional thing, let the bike do the work, let it reach and hit that dirt. But it went a little bit over the top there. Probably enjoying his ride because he's getting some nice traction, but it's all about finishing the race, and he almost didn't do that, got himself in a bit of a muddle. But we can see him right now inside in the red helmet color, then lets the bike drift a little bit as he's coming down the back straightaway, and then the race begins for himself. Back wheel in the dirt, and he's really enjoying his stuff, looking pretty stylish out there. And he was sitting on 10 points before this heat. Got himself in a bit of a muddle right there. Was able to correct it. Like you say, good motorcyclist. Was able to do that. The race before that, we've seen a rider go down in the same spot there. But confident Australian was able to clinch the 3 points at the end of that heat 20 and make sure they were in the bank.
Yeah, good night for 2 of the Australians here. You mentioned before the meeting, Sam, they were happy to ride. They were confident, looking forward to it. Kurtz has scored 14, Frick has scored 13. Smektala, Drabik, Lambert and Leaga have all scored 10. Varina has scored 9. And Berger will make the semi-final despite not winning a race because of the no scores of Kibera and Krutschmar. Berger will get in. You can see some of the organisers here having a chat at the second bend, and we're going to see what they make of it, what they make of conditions.
Well, I think they're pretty relieved that we even got this meeting on. They just want to make sure that the riders are nice and safe. And you know, if there's any concerns about the track conditions out there, these riders are pretty keen to finish off their night safely, but at the same time, they're racers and they want to win. So there's obviously some talk about something, and maybe they need some time to grade the track, but then again, that's time for the rain to come as well.
Yeah, it's not too heavy at the moment, but I think they will want to grade again before the semi if we get them. And at the moment, that was a conversation regarding the lineup for the semi-final.
Right.
As far as we can see, the first semi, should it take place, will be Kurtz, Drabik, Leaga and Varina, and the second semi would be Frick, Smektala, Lambert and Berger. That is what we expect to happen, and there you can see those names being
we
written.
got the Candy Soft program. They should definitely have that, shouldn't they?
Well, the referee has, I know that.
Okay, good.
Yes, thank you once again to Mr. Gambrel for that, because that does make life an awful lot easier when we're telling you about countbacks and so on. And the team managers are also just checking out. So we saw that chat at the second bend.
And no track grading at the moment.
Just about to get it now, Sam.
No,
the tractor's just on its way now. So
thanks for pointing that out to me. I didn't see them.
That's that big green thing that's coming out of bend 2.
A Tonka toy.
Absolutely.
That's what we used to call them.
Yeah. So, but again, well done to everyone for getting this far. We started this 1 hour 50 minutes ago, and they've got through a full 20 heats on that. That's a really great effort.
Well done for the racing, eh?
It just shows what can be done. More discussions taking place there. Max Frick, and you mentioned the two Australians, well, the Australians completely beforehand. They've gone out and done it. Certainly in the case of Kurtz and Frick, they've looked really, really good.
They're going to put the pressure on, and when we come to the third round, not alone what's happening in the semifinals coming up to get to the grand final here in this Güstrow track, and it's just under 300 meters, as I've noted earlier on. I think it's 298, as I recall.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's a circle of a racetrack. Gates are pretty important, but they've all gone out there in difficult conditions, and there's a championship to be won and one to be make sure he doesn't lose it, and that's Max Frick sitting on 13 points, and his fellow Australian, Brady Kurtz, right above him with 14. Not a bad place to be.
The overall standings after 5 rides apiece here, and several of these will have more rides to come. Maxim Drabik on 31 points, Max Frick on 28, Bartosz Smektala on 25, Brady Kurtz on 20. I guess if Brady Kurtz wins these last 2 rides here, and certainly if Drabik fails to make the final, then that will enable Kurtz to go to part of it's the feeling that he's got a chance of snatching something as well. So really a couple of important races to come for these riders, assuming that we do get them. The track is being graded as things stand. That is the scene on the second bend. Everyone has stayed. A lot of people have arrived in this part of the world in northern Germany ahead of the Grand Prix tomorrow, and they've made a weekend of it, and they were hoping for obviously better conditions than this, but as I say, everyone has worked really hard to make this possible after a day of rain. Track covering definitely worked, because the meeting wouldn't have gone ahead without the track covers, no doubt about that, and they've got the track into a raceable state, and we've definitely got a result from this meeting. But we all want to see the last 3 heats, so no suggestions, no word up to our box to say that won't be the case. So hopefully won't be too long, and we'll get a semi-final lineup.
We were deprived once of a final here, weren't we? And that was
that's right. Last year, a really good meeting, and then it just came down a bit too heavy right at the end.
Yeah, and you know, when sometimes the safety prevails every time, and if the riders say it's a bit too difficult, or there's patchy bits on the racetrack that are steering the riders in different directions, you know, you got to consider all that. But here we go for the lineup on gate choices.
I don't think we can hear the audio, so there is Brady taking the inside gate.
Yep.
Brady Kurtz goes off the inside.
Następnie Maxim Drabik.
Max,
który kask dla ciebie?
Is next, and he's going to go for gate 3. Drabik will be going in white.
Teraz Andreas Leager.
Andreas Leaga is
Which
third
helmet
pick.
for you?
He's gone straight for yellow.
Yellow.
Nobody's going to want
Żółty
blue.
dla Andreasa.
That's going to be the unlucky pick for
I Kacper
or
Woryna.
the non-pick, if you like,
Niewiele
for,
pozostało.
Kacper Woryna, who's always got a smile on his face. A real character is
Niebieski.
Kacper Woryna, and he has the blue helmet colour for Heat 21, the first semi-final. First two, that will be Kacper Woryna going in blue. Dimitri Berger will pick. He may well be on gate 2, Dimitri Berger, in the second semi-final, but that's to come. And Woryna confirmed as the fourth semi-finalist in semi-final 1. Semi-final 2 will be Max Frick to have the first choice. He'll be followed by Smektala, Lambert and Berger. And not too much rain coming down at the moment, and the conditions are somewhat better than they were when we came for that Speedway Euro Championship meeting last year, when at the end the mist was rolling in. And I remember some flares being let off, and they were the smoke from that was hanging around the track because it was so misty and the rain was coming down. So no
And all the confetti and all that stuff that was flying everywhere.
Oh, everything was going, wasn't it? Absolutely, yeah. So not as bad as things are at the moment here, and just waiting for that scoreboard to be reset. Here we go with picks for the second semi-final. Max Frick will be the first.
Czas na drugi półfinał. Jako pierwszy Max Frick.
Red.
Czerwony dla Maxa. Następnie Bartek Smektała. Smyku wybiera kask.
Biały.
Robert Lambert. Which color for you?
Yellow.
Żółty dla Roberta. I na koniec Dimitri Berger.
Blue.
Niebieski.
Well, that followed what's become a familiar pattern, and Max Frick taking the inside gate for the second semi-final. Dimitri Berger left with blue as gate 2 as his choice. Smektala will be going off white, and Robert Lambert will be going off yellow, gates 3 and 4 respectively. So as the tractor makes its way off the circuit, it looks like everything is all good to go for the first semi here, as
crowd still patiently hanging around, which is what we want to see.
Yep, and the start line is being re-prepared. So on we go, and the referee, I'm just looking across to see if the 2-minute warning is imminent. Riders' bikes are about to emerge from the pits. So Kacper Woryna there in blue, having his bike being prepared by the mechanics. There is Maxim Drabik in white. And Leaga, who of course made the semi in Poznan before crashing out, and we were a bit concerned about a possible injury for Leaga there, but there was no extensive damage done. Woryna is first on track for the first semi-final here in Güstrow, with very light rain coming down at the moment, so I think fair to say it was the correct call to hang on and race on. Certainly in terms of visibility, it's going to be better now than it has been for the last 7 or 8 races, because the rain has just about, still coming down a bit, but as I say, nowhere near as heavy as it was, and the track has ridden superbly well given the conditions, and given the way it looked when they took the covers off. There were a bit of concerns over 3 or 4 areas, certainly the area to first bend in particular, around entry to turn 3, outside of turn 3 there were some concerns there, but we've got through 20 heats and we move on into the first semi-final. Brady Kurtz, Kacper Woryna, Maxim Drabik and Andreas Leaga, and Kurtz, to put himself into title contention here, could do with not only winning this race but also keeping Drabik out of the final. That might not be easy. You've got to really look after your own job first and foremost, but Drabik there in white, if he can get a final here out of this, then he'll be keeping himself in touch and probably at the top of the standings come Pardubice at the end of the month.
Very interesting lineup here, and they've just graded the track. As you said, there's only just a little bit of drizzle on it, so I think it's pretty fair to say the riders all know the conditions going to be very, very tight in the first corner. I believe they'll all be chasing the same line. They'll all be chasing to get to the dirt, but it's not there yet because they just groomed the racetrack. So there could be a couple of options for the guys. Keep it down low, I would say, for Kurtz if he wants to do it. And Maxime Drabic will be the one that has to really negotiate where he wants to be with Verona just on the inside of him. Interesting lineup here to see who's going to challenge the first corner, who's going to come out first, coming out of turns 2.
Yep, we need 2 riders for the final, and these points do count towards the series as a whole. First semi-final, bit of movement at the start, and away they go, and Kurtz didn't make it. Verena in blue makes the start unbelievable, and now it's going to get really tight as Drabic goes powering inside. Brady Kurtz off bend 2 and takes enormous speed into bends 3 and 4, goes wide, and back on the inside goes Brady Kurtz. Kurtz and Drabic really going after here, and Drabic has gone heavily, and it's clipped Hansen, who stays on. Leaga Hansen stays on, but Maxime Drabic is down. Drama in the first semi-final. It was a rip-roaring battle involving Drabic and Brady Kurtz as Verena had made the start in blue, and Maxime Drabic is down on the main straight here in Güstrow, and this could be another big twist in the under-21 title race.
Big fall too. They were at full speed. Nobody wants to do that. It looks like, that was so tough.
Very hard racing. Hard racing.
Just got in front of him enough to shut his line off. It's hard to turn the throttle over, turn it off, I should say, and just quietly wait and see what happens here.
As I say, it has gone very quiet here now in the stadium because obviously when a rider comes down like that, you want to see him get up, and now he is sitting up.
Yeah,
and there's an immediate round of, you can hear that, the round of applause from the very sporting crowd here in Güstrow, and now we'll take a look at what went on.
Yeah, well, Kurtz just got in front of him coming off this one. He had nowhere to go, and he got up to the fence. He just ran out of room, hit the fence. Yeah, there's nowhere to go. You know, when your line gets taken away, he's up on the high line. When your line gets taken away, you're trying to look in. It's an oval racetrack. Remember I said it's oval. You just,
just stopped him completely.
Yeah. It's oval because there's no straightaway. So you're in the curve, and now you're looking, there's somebody in front of you, and that's a rider. And you got to back off the throttle. It pushes him wider. There's no straightaway. It's still turning.
He's on his feet.
Walking away. He's so lucky there. Another great motorcyclist becomes a victim of a track that's not conventional. In the right place, in the dirt, just that Kurtz was able to get himself in the right place at the right time to take a pass. Basically spooked him offline, to be fair, I would say.
Drabic smashed his leg last year. It cost him basically the entire season. But that one he appears to have got away with because he is walking away, and that is absolutely fantastic to see. So he will now assess the damage to his title race, because that's exactly what I was talking about before the race. Brady Kurtz, if he wins it, and also somehow it wouldn't have been in that way he intended, for Drabic to miss out on the final, now everyone is going to be gaining ground, because Drabic, quite clearly, the rider in white, is excluded.
Well, it's his father walking with him, and I raced with him at Wooch. We've had some good times together. Before the meeting, he kind of come up to me saying, conditions tough, we've got to go for it, it's not perfect, but at the same time, it's the same for all the riders. And let's just hope that Maxime's okay. I mean, that was a hard fall.
Yeah, the wrist is what he was holding as he was walking in.
Yeah, it obviously he got all bundled up in the bike as it hit the fence, and you're basically a passenger at that point. And to come out of that walking away is pretty good. It was a pretty solid hit when both wheels hit the fence, pretty solid, full speed. A credit to him to get up and walk away from that, but unfortunate that he ran out of room. Just went in the corner, went high. Kurtz did what he had to do, cup up the inside, left him some room there. It's just the arc of the racetrack put Drabic against the fence.
Shame, because in terms of the race, it was a fantastic first lap between him and Kurtz. They both knew the importance of that, and then probably set up because of the fact that Verena had made such an unexpected start from gate 2. That had left them battling for a place in the final, and you had Drabic trying to ease Kurtz out on bend 2, and then he went so wide on bends 3 and 4. It was great racing, and just a shame we didn't get 3 more laps of it.
Drabic came into play, didn't he? By the time he got to turn 3, and he was going full speed, and he went up the high line, and that's where the drag race coming off of turn 2 put him into the dirt line, and it just pulled him through that corner. He was getting such a good ride. And then when he made the apex of the arc of the corner and he started getting some drive, who was in front of him was a red helmet color, and that was Brady Kurtz. Took his line, so he had to negotiate, how am I going to not hit him? And the bike then drove a little bit wider. And you can see right here, he's all in his position, and now all of a sudden he's like, I got to get out of this. How do I get out of it? And he just, that little bit of, there was nothing you can do. He ran so lucky that Liger didn't collect the bike and get hurt as well. But he just ran out of room in the dirt and against the fence.
Yeah, I've seen in the past, you've seen riders clipped by stray bikes.
See, he's trying to avoid the back wheel.
Yeah.
And that was enough for him to still trying to hold on to it. A racer never gives up. And a racer he is, and it's nice to see him walk away, but he's in the ambulance getting some treatment.
Yeah.
Let's hope he's okay, and he can come out here and challenge his lead, really, when it comes down to the final going into Pardubice.
I'm sure that Roslav will be hoping he's going to be okay, because he's due to be racing for them in Gorzów on Sunday, and Roslav have only got a 4-point lead from the first leg of that playoff semi-final, so they'll be desperately hoping that Drabik is fit to ride in that meeting. The Polish semi is really beautifully poised between 4 very evenly matched teams, with Zieloná and Roslav and Gorzów and Leszno. Possibility that the third and fourth could take out first and second in those semis, but then again they were all so close in the regular standings anyway. So Drabik was going well there. His Swedish season for Leonen came to an end in the quarterfinals. They lost out to Rosbigana, despite him scoring paid 12 in the second leg. But as I say, he's got a big date in Poland on Sunday, and they'll be hoping that he is fit to ride. Meanwhile, they're on track for the restart of the semi-final one, with Brady Kurtz, Kasper Verina and Maxim Drabik. And a word for Verina, we've seen that Gate 2 has not been good tonight, and when he's seen the red lights there to stop the race, that will have been massive frustration, because Verina, out in front of Gate 2, has now got to do it again, albeit without Drabik also in the race.
Yeah, good point. Kind of calmed down a little bit now, seeing that the rider had a big fall. He's back on his feet in the ambulance. Hope he's going to be okay. Ready for the rerun of this semi-final one.
I don't believe that Andreas Leaga will be allowed to start in that position. He's in yellow, and he's moved across into the vacant position, but he cannot start there.
Absolutely
he has to start off gate 4. And he's now being told.
Yep.
Yeah. And there's this member of the start line started just giving a really quizzical look to the referee up in the box as well. We've seen gates switched for tapes exclusions in pairs meetings and so on, and of course if you have a runoff you can choose inside or outside, but you can't just move into a vacant grid spot when the rider inside is being excluded.
Nice try.
Yeah, good effort, but
try.
Maybe next time. But I think what you will see is he will try and start pretty close to gate 3
Fair
with
enough.
that fake, but that's absolutely fine, and that's exactly what he's doing. So Kurtz off the inside, Verina off gate 2, and Leaga off the outside in gate 4. And Kurtz this time has got the gate over Verina, and Verina will now have to battle with Leaga on the first turn. He's done so, but Leaga's got speed off the bend. It's Kurtz with Verina going through on the inside, neck and neck almost, as Kurtz goes round the outside to lead Verina in second place, Leaga in third, and Verina was in front when the race was stopped. This time Kurtz has the advantage, but Verina will still make the final if things stay as they are. But Brady Kurtz with Drabik out of contention. Brady Kurtz moving into title contention here.
Yeah, nice ride for himself. Just keep your head on right now. Don't make any mistakes. Verina still got his opportunity in the final. He's going to be holding on to that second place, no doubt about that. The Dane Liger is trailing in third place right now. He was trying to find the best. He made a good start, actually, the Dane did, off of that inside position off gate 4, but not good enough.
Brady Kurtz having a fantastic meeting. We saw Drabik score 21 in Poznan. Well, Kurtz could score 20 here if he wins the final, because he's certainly going to be in the final as he comes off bend 4 with the victory. Brady Kurtz and Kasper Verina are the first two finalists here in Güstrow, with Andreas Leaga missing out there after a solid night's work that's picked him up 11 points, so very much worth his while tonight, Andreas Leaga, but not making the final. Brady Kurtz and Kasper Verina do make the final, and they will be joined by 2 more to come in semi-final 2. Kurtz and Verina go through, Leaga and Drabik go out.
Pretty much the way Brady's night's been, pretty much on the inside. They made a nice start, knew what he had to do. Verona did make a good one, as you said. He cut back to the inside, and it's really, Liger had an opportunity there, but would have got closed out immediately if he would have been in between these guys going into turn 3. Pretty well Kurtz his own way all the way from the start to the finish in this race. He was able to fill the racetrack, see what it's going to give him when he goes into that final. Another semi-final 2 coming up, but then they'll possibly grade the racetrack. They don't traditionally grade between the semi-finals and the finals of these things, but we'll yet to see what's going to happen. but Kurtz made no mistakes. Rode pretty aggressively for the 4 laps. The bike was twitching a bit, but I think he felt fully controlled as he did the 4 laps. And just describing to his pit crew, the bike jumped out of the start, that inside gate, finally coming to some of the riders. There's been 9 race wins on that inside, only 1 out of gate 2, 7 from gate 3, and 4 from the outside. So those are the stats going into this semifinal.
And Max Frick here in semi-final 2 can go level with Drabek at the top of the standings if he wins it, and of course he'll have a further race to come. So Frick off the inside in red, Berger in blue off gate 2, Smektala in white, he's also got title aspirations, will need to make the final, he's in white off gate 3, and Robert Lambert in yellow off the outside. He's currently 12 points off the lead, but of course if he wins this race and the final, he would halve that gap, so it could all
change around, yeah,
very
for
much
sure.
so.
Well, that's what we want in a world championship, isn't it? Everybody going for the top, absolutely.
And Drabek was never a certain. A lot of people said to me, Drabek, when he got 21 in Poznan, they said that makes him a certain champion. No way, and we've seen tonight.
You can't say that so early on. It's impossible. I mean, I know a lot of the people are asking me the same question. What's his chances with 6-point lead? Is it good enough? Anything can happen.
It's a good situation, but it's not. It's by no means guaranteed, as we've seen. So, semi-final 2 with Frick on the inside, Berger gate 2, Smektala gate 3, Lambert off the outside, away, and Frick has made it. Smektala's made it in white. Frick just gets to the bend in front of Smektala with a fast line around the outside. Smektala has it just over Frick. Coming through on the inside here is Dimitri Berger. Can he take Max Frick? Down he goes! And down goes Max Frick. We've seen Drabek crash out, and now we've seen Frick crash out. The semi-finals producing enormous drama, and Max Frick is absolutely furious and frustrated because he could have got level with Drabek in the standings, and now he's crashed out himself.
He'll be so gutted from that, and I tell you what, he was spooked by Berger. Berger came in on him. He sent somebody there. He wasn't sure what was going on and eased off a little bit, and the bike grabbed traction. Remember I said to you, these guys are still riding on very slippery conditions in some places right there. The bikes are set up aggressively at this stage of the meeting. You got to get them out of the start. Frick coming from that inside gate, tried to make that bike get to the first corner, didn't have his own way. Smektala gets there on the outside. Frick's trying to get the bike to grab some traction to pace him going into 3, but he's spooked right now because the Frenchman's on the inside of him, and he rolls off the throttle a little bit or has to straighten up a little bit. The back wheel grabs traction, rears on him. He's just a passenger at this point. Right now, he just sits back a little bit, hooks up. Dang it, he's just thrown it away. A good night, just gone bad.
Walking away, as we saw with Drabek, again, that's the most important thing. And Max Frick, he will be in Tetero tomorrow, hopefully, as long as there is no injury there. He's just back from a serious neck injury, so hopefully no extended damage from that, because he's in the Grand Prix tomorrow. But he won't be in the final here tonight, and he will stay 3 points behind Maxim Drabek in the standings. And that is going to allow Smektala, Brady Kurtz to really get themselves right into this title race.
Absolutely. As a race changes everything. Semi-final number 2, the drama in the worst case for Max Frick. Thought he had an opportunity, worked hard in the first corner, got himself in a great position when he got into turn 3. He was lying second place. Not a bad place to be when you got Smektala that made a perfect first corner coming from gate number 3. The Australian really had to work overtime to keep pace with them, but a Frenchman came underneath him. I believe spooked him a little bit, changed his body position on his bike. Was that the bike then reared. Unfortunate for the Australian. He's not going to go into tomorrow's event with that trophy that he was hoping to land tonight. He was in a good position, wasn't he?
Well, I think he's now fairly philosophical about it as he makes his way in. As again, the main thing is that he's not been injured. He gets a wave and gives a wave to the crowd and makes his way back to the pit. So he will stay on 28 points in the series with Drabek on 31. And I mentioned just about how leads can be dissipated after the first round, when, of course, Drabek scored 21, but will now be probably series leader, but not by a lot going into the second round. Well, last year, of course, at King's Lynn in Event 1, Pieszek scored 20 and Lambert scored 19. Frick, who ended up the champion, only scored 12 in round 1, so he was coming from a similar situation. He was 8 behind Pieszek after the first round and still went on to actually beat him by 6 overall. So it can easily change round in 3-round series. And Max Frick just making his way back in, just feeling the back of the neck, but looks like he's looks like he's okay, and there's be a slight delay here because what it did do was take out some sections of the air fence. There you see the work that's required. There's a vehicle coming around the third and fourth bend to assist with that, and I would say it's just about stopped raining as well, quite bizarrely. So we should get clear conditions for the rerun and then the final. But after absolutely racing our way through the 20 heats, we've now had drama and stoppages in the semi-finals as the boys have really been going for it, Sam. There's no question about that. And Max Frick, it's game over for him tonight, but now it's a chance for him to prepare for the German Grand Prix at Tetero tomorrow.
Yeah, it's definitely not the way a racer wants to end his night. He'll be thinking back all the time about this until tomorrow he gets some more races under his belt. Right now he'll be thinking to himself, darn it, I was in a really good position. I did all the work. Second place. Thought I had it wrapped up. Well, at least I was in a good position to wrap it up. And the bike caught him out. Track conditions, whatever it was, he'll be replaying that in his head for a while now. It won't be easy to forget that one.
Just waiting to hear what the news is on Maxim Drabik. Obviously, we saw him walk away from his crash, but there was a bit of concern over potentially a wrist injury, and you can see that the ambulance with its blue lights on appears to be on its way. So maybe Drabik is going to require a trip to hospital there, but we'll see whether those blue lights have been put on because it's going to be leaving the circuit. We don't know that yet. We've not been given any information as the work continues on the fence upon turn 4, which was hit by the bike of Max Frick, and what it's actually done is actually deflated several sections whilst they worked to prepare that. And having told you the rain had stopped, it's now just about started again, so never been too far away this evening. So they will want to get the fence repairs done so that we can get the second semi-final. You always want to get the meeting as far as you can, hopefully to the final. The ambulance, by the way, and there you can see the pictures, is now leaving the circuit, so one can only assume that's with Maxim Drabik, and this is why. Yeah,
unfortunate and fortunate at the same time that wasn't worse.
If you are just joining us, he did walk away from it.
Yeah, Drabik just ran out of room. His line was taken away by a faster rider cutting up the inside of him. The bike reared a little bit, grabbed a little traction, he had to avoid a back wheel, and then got it together, ran out of room. The shape of the racetrack sucked him into the wall down the straightaway, and down he went. But we're not so sure if there was any damage to him other than he shook and rattled and he rolled a lot in that footage, but we're just not 100% sure.
Well, as we say, the ambulance is leaving the circuit, so we send him our best wishes. Absolutely. And I'm sure, as I say, they'll be hoping he's fit to ride in Poland on Sunday. These riders do tend to make rapid recoveries if he's X-rayed and there is no break. Then you can be sure he'll be back on a bike as soon as he possibly can. And quite often, actually, if there is a break, riders also manage to get themselves back on a bike very quickly, as Max Frick himself has shown in the last couple of weeks. They've put in a new panel up on the fourth bend. They're about three panels beyond that to then re-inflate, and a few the other side too. And with the new one in, we should be able to get that fence completed and get the remaining 3 riders on track for the rerun. And certainly again in that second semi-final, a similar case to the first. And the rider in blue, who was left with the gate that no one wanted, Verena the first time and then Berger that time, they really got themselves involved in the race. And you made the point, Sam, that it was Berger's dramatic move down the inside that really did cause Max Frick a problem. He's looking forward to his big night. He is a standby rider in the Grand Prix, and he'll be riding in Tetero tomorrow. Air fence repairs being completed here. A reminder that the final round of the Speedway Euro Championship takes place next weekend, next Saturday in Lublin in Poland. A real four-way scrap for the title there. Can Andrzej Lebedevs bring it home? Check out all our social media channels and hashtag Let's Make Speedway, and that meeting in Lublin next Saturday will be broadcast extensively on Eurosport. So one not to miss next Saturday in Lublin. And then, of course, Pardubice for the final round of the World Under-21 Championship, sponsored by EcoDeer, and that takes place the final Friday night in September. That's the 29th of September, which is 3 weeks tonight, of course, and that's the start of a big weekend of racing in the Czech Republic. And we will be crowning a World Under-21 champion there. Will it be a new champion? We'll have to wait and see, because that man, Max Frick, will be doing his best to try and hang on to his title, and he'll be coming from 3 points down. Maxim Drabik on 31, Max Frick on 28, and Smectala, if he wins the semi and the final, then he'll also be on 31. But these developments have been great news for Brady Kurtz, getting himself right back in, and it just shows the value of Brady Kurtz riding in the first meeting when carrying a knock. He wasn't fully fit, but he was back from rib damage, picked up 6 points, and suddenly those 6 points for Kurtz now look pretty valuable with the ones he's banging in tonight that are taking him right back into contention.
That's just not losing hope, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Absolutely.
Every
turn
point
up, get
counts.
some points.
Yeah, you turn up, you ride with the injury, and you get to make the best out of it, and hopefully it comes good.
Well, we are not too far away, I think, from a resumption, because it looks like the air fence repairs are complete. Just looking away to my left-hand side with more rain swirling around. We have seen real drama in the semi-finals tonight, and this is Max Frick going over and out of the second semi-final.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just grabbed a little bit of traction there in the heat of the moment. Lifted. These bikes are hard to ride at the best of times, I tell you, and these conditions don't help.
There is the work being concluded, and the riders have just had a rather frustrating wait, haven't they? Whilst they've got this fence repaired. Yeah,
this track is actually done well, I would say. The conditions, round, oval track compared, it's a little bit untraditional for some of the riders because they expect 2 long straightaways and corners, but this one's more of an oval, which we know Sheffield in England's a bit like that, so Somerset as well. This is rides a much bigger track than it is, probably 298 meters. The boys are getting some full speed, but where it's really odd is where the starting gate is and the finish line is. It's right coming off of turns 4, so it's a long stretch of the first corner. When the tapes go up, the riders have to negotiate, so they're going pretty darn quick for the corner, and they get through it. I traditionally, in the past, I've been here when the track's not had any rain, and it's usually on the curb the whole time. But when there is some rain, you ride right up against the fence. But today, they've learned their lesson over the years, the organizers, and they put some nice sheeting down. We're able to cover the racetrack and save it. We've had a nice drizzle through the whole event, which made things a little bit slippery on the inside, and the riders are chasing big lines to get some traction, and it's working for the guys that are wise. And you can easily get caught out, which some of the guys have.
They certainly have, and 2 of the very best have been caught out. Maxim Drabik and Max Frick both crashing out in the semi-finals, so they will score no points beyond their 20 heat total from 5 races, and that leaves Dimitri Berger in blue, Bartosz Smectala in white, and Robert Lambert in yellow to contest the second semi-final, and looking for 2 more to go to the final.
Yeah, an opportunity for the Englishman Robert Lambert on the outside as well. Let's bring that into the equation. He's starting from gate 4. They've had a little bit of time for the track to settle down a little bit. I don't know how much water's been on the inside. It might just give Robert Lambert that opportunity, being on the outside in the dirt. The Frenchman on the inside sitting on 8 points. That's Bijer. He's going to try to get to that first corner first, but obviously the favorite has got to be Smectala.
He's making fast starts, isn't he? Pretty much wherever he starts from.
Yeah, and you can see in the background there are these photos of the organizers looking on.
Relieved. They've had a really tough day.
Yeah, it's been a tough day. I think they've had a tough series on everything that One Sport crew's been handling. We've had a lot of, we call this One Sport weather, don't we?
Unfortunately, yes. But they've been very unlucky. But we've only had one rain off, which was Gniezno in the pairs. That got rearranged, so everything's been done. And making the best of it, and certainly Edward's done that tonight. Second semi-final rerun then. Berger, Spectator and Lambert, two more for the final away in the fast skating. Spectator makes another fast skate. He leads in white, and Berger battling with Lambert around 1 and 2, and Lambert goes round the outside, and now he'll try and come back for the inside. Robert Lambert sends one down the inside of Bartosz Spectator into Memphis 3 and 4. Lambert takes the advantage. Spectator tries to hit back. That's a brilliant ride there by Robert Lambert. He leads Spectator with Berger in third, and Lambert out in front here.
Lambert's attack of the first lap has been tremendous right there. Spectator's going to have to pick the pieces up. Second's good enough to get you into the semifinals, so don't throw it away, boys. The Frenchman's trailing in third place. He put it in there for the first lap, but I can say right now the Englishman Lambert out in front, but he's going to have a lot of heat on him for the remainder of this race.
Well, Spectator desperately going for the extra point here, but he must not throw it away because he's really in title contention now by making the final. He mustn't throw it away, just trying to get one extra point against Lambert. Lambert over Spectator, Berger in third. They will make it through, and Robert Lambert with a great ride to win the semi-final, and he makes the final. Robert Lambert's there, so is Bartosz Spectator. Spectator made the start, but Lambert rode superbly on the opening lap. He really dived down the inside on turn 3 and 4, and then held his nerve around turn 4 into lap 2 to get the better of Bartosz Spectator. And Robert Lambert for Great Britain, he moves through into the final here in Güstrow. It's Lambert and Spectator who go through.
Yeah, Spectator, the Polish rider, really gets a good start coming from gate 3, but Robert Lambert got to that dirt and really made it work for him, and he just had to keep muscling in there. Did make a mistake after they got going, but a tremendous first lap as they get going to the first corner. Robert Lambert on the outside in the yellow. Bartosz Spectator is right there coming into, getting to that corner, and it just looked like it was going to have it all his own way, but check it out. Lambert comes up on the inside, puts him on immense pressure coming turns 3 and 4, grabs that lead coming off that turns 4, and then had to contend with heavy pressure from the pole throughout the remainder of the 4 laps. Tremendous race, a good battle here getting into the final, and there's a lot more to come, I'm sure, once we get to that staging of the grand final of this second round of the Under-21 World Champions.
Lambert on to 22 points, and if he scores in the final, he's going to certainly turn it into a 5-way scrap for honours, you have to say, going into the final round in Pardubice with Dravik and Frick. Not going to score any more tonight. Spectator, Kurtz and Lambert are all going to race on and score more points. Verena is the other finalist here, so it is going to be set up superbly for the final round in 3 weeks' time, and the question is who will win here tonight. Gate picks for the final, we'll see Brady Kurtz, who has looked the most consistent man of all. He's only dropped 1 point all night, scored 17. He's the big winner so far, Brady Kurtz. He will pick first for the final. Robert Lambert, he will pick second. Spectator was clearly racing harder to try and get the race victory because, again, gate choice in the final as well as the extra point is crucial. But he's in the final, that's the most important thing. And Verena will be saddled with last pick, and I'm sure gate 2.
I think Spectator did a good job of not overcooking it.
Well, I thought he might a couple times.
Well, the fact of it is that's when your maturity grows. You got to realize you got to take that second place at a vital time. There's still another round to go. So it was nice to see him think that one through a little bit.
Fans have stayed to the end in tough conditions. We saw those fans outside. They were walking away from it and then back in, and they've enjoyed the action. Here we go with
Brady,
the gate
which
picks.
color for you?
3.
Gate 3.
Kask biały dla Brady'ego. Następnie Robert Lambert. Which helmet for you?
Gate 1.
Czerwony kask dla Roberta Lamberta. Czekamy na Bartka Smektałę teraz. Bartek, który kask dla Ciebie?
Żółty poproszę.
Żółty dla Smyka i Kacper Woryna.
Blue, niebieski, blau.
Yeah, there's.
I don't speak Polish, but I'm probably glad I don't speak Polish.
Well, not a bad way with. So
what's Brady Kurtz?
I'll tell you why. There's no track grading going on. You know what I mean? So the racing line, the dirt line now is on the outside. So if he can make an even start to Robert Lambert coming off the inside of Verona on the inside of him, he could have an opportunity of being in the dirt first. But with Smektela on the outside of him, Kurtz has just got to make sure he beats Guy on gate 4 and he's even with everybody on the inside of him. And he might have the best opportunity through the first corner to have that. I would say the best, these guys are all fighting to get to the high line coming off of turns 2. Right as they get their wheels in line, right there is where the dirt is. If you can get there first, you have half a chance of drag racing themselves into turn 3 and gaining the lead. And once you get to turn 3 and the lead, you might be able to control the race without making any mistakes. So
Brady Kurtz, the rider in white, 17 points so far tonight. If he can win this one, he'll only be one short of what Drabik did in Poznan, and he will be right there. He's on 23 so far. He would move on to 26, and Drabik's on 31, and we've seen how leads can be cut already. And when you've got 7 rides potentially in a meeting, 21 points up for grabs, then an awful lot can happen over that period. And this circuit never fails to produce drama, and despite the conditions, there's been plenty of that here tonight. And Kasper Verina has worked his way all the way through, going off the gate number 2 in blue once more. Can he really shake things up?
yeah, the guy that can actually gain a lot of momentum right now was Bartosz Smektela,
Yep.
coming from that outside gate. And that was not a bad place to be landed, to be fair, because you can actually make a good opportunity. You know, the third pick, gate 4, he's got a big job to do, but it isn't a bad place to be.
Smektala is the highest scorer in the series in this race. He's on 27 points, 4 behind Maxim Drabik. Kurtz on 23, Lambert 22, and Verina on 16. Verina, because of his incidents in the first round, probably not a title contender, but certainly showing why he's had such a good season with Ribnik and is very highly rated for the future. And could he spring a real shock here?
Well, the top 2 guys in the series with Drabik and Frick, both non-movers.
Yep. Both
coming
crashing
into this one, and Smektala 27. If he was to gain a win here, that will put him between and split the 2 guys at the top right now, and that will make a real exciting finish. There's no doubt about it. But Kurtz, the guy that's been riding well all night, only dropped 1 point. He wants to have it his own way in this one. He's coming, the first choice. We're focusing on him now, come from gate number 3. Here is Smektala coming down the ramp, coming from gate 4 when he gets to the start line. He'll be on his own mission right now, thinking about what he's going to be doing. They would have been coached, or they would have had their team around them, giving them the scenarios. You got to get that starting grid. Look at that. There's a little of a groove right there. The dirt's kind of moist, but also at the same time quite slippery. If the bike slips on the slippery bit, it won't launch them. The bikes now would have had their bike. The mechanics would have set the bikes up to get out of the start. Everybody knows where you got to be on the racetrack. You got to chase that high line. All 4 of these guys are lining up, wanting the same thing, and that's 3 points.
Well, it's absolutely incredible that we've got ourselves into a grand final here in Güstrow with all the rain that's come down throughout the day here in this part of Germany. Well done to everyone involved for getting it this far, and let's see who we can get as a winner. Robert Lambert off the inside, Kasper Verina off gate 2, Brady Kurtz off gate 3, and Bartosz Smektala off the outside. It's set for a fascinating climax to the series, no question about that, in the Czech Republic in 3 weeks' time. But we need a winner here in Güstrow. Will it be Lambert, Verina, Kurtz or Smektala? They get away for the grand final. Kurtz off gate 3 makes one a good one, and Kurtz gets in front of Lambert into the first bend. Now can Lambert turn back, or can Smektala work his way through? Smektala in between 2. Brilliant stuff by Smektala. Kurtz wide up the inside. Lambert so wide is Smektala, and Lambert goes to the front. Lambert race leads. Now Kurtz tries to get down the inside, and he goes to his own level, and Lambert's got back around him, and Kurtz sees Lambert nothing, and Smektala comes back on the inside. Sensational 2 laps of racing there.
Oh, geez, and it's continuing now. The pressure's on. Lambert's coming up the inside, looking to his right now. He sees Kurtz in the Australian, but the pole's out in front. Smektala has got this one wrapped up if he doesn't make any mistakes.
Lambert moving back through on Kurtz, who goes back round him into bench 3 and 4. It's Smektala who race leads. Furious trap for second place. Lambert moving back through on Brady Kurtz. Verina has had a grandstand view of Proteins at the back, but it's Bartosz Smektala with the lead. It's Kurtz moving back around Lambert for second place. What a race the final has been, and it will be Bartosz Smektala winning in Güstrow. Second place, it's going to be Lambert, I think, just well on the line. What a finish to the final. What a race that was! Unbelievable! Bartosz Smektala, who fell in his first ride, has come through to win it and put himself firmly in contention for the title itself. And Smektala, Lambert and Kurtz were going at it, 3 of them, all through that race. Well, we had to wait through the rain throughout the day. They took the covers off, they scraped water off, and we have seen an epic final here in Güstrow.
Unbelievable. Who got second? The pictures will show it. Oh, it's still hard to see.
Oh, well.
Oh, the front wheels turn on Robert Lambert, so whether or not his front wheel being turned and arced was enough to get him relegated to 3rd place. I'm not to say that one right now.
Oh, it's so tough to say, but what about Bartosz Smektala? They're going to get the flag, and they're going to get the glory after an incredible race.
The race came to these guys.
We're going to get an even closer view here. Lambert in the air, Kurtz in the air on the line.
Oh, it looks dead heat to me.
We can't have dead heat.
No.
That'll blow the computer up. Smektala is definitely the winner, and Smektala is on to 30 points, and he's only one behind Drabik in the series. The rain is now pouring down again. Brady Kurtz waving to the crowd down the home straight. What a show those riders put on for that grand final. That was incredible stuff here. That was classic Güstrow racing like we've enjoyed over the last few years, and they really put a show on there. It was on the line, it was big, important stuff, and Bartosz Smektala got it done. We are still awaiting confirmation of the result. Kasper Verina just congratulating his Polish colleague.
Nice to see, yeah. Verina was in there as well, but unfortunately wasn't in the thick of the action. Smektala, now, what a ride he put together right there. The Australian Kurtz didn't give it up easy, I can tell you that. Lambert, the Englishman, though, here's another view. That turn, front wheel right there, I think cost them that 2nd place. That's my opinion of it. But let's see if we can just get some good view.
Different angles all the way.
Lambert's front wheel turned right now, which gives Kurtz the opportunity. Yeah, Kurtz has got that. It's hard to see, but I think because Lambert's front wheel's turned.
It's as close as it gets. It's absolutely as close as it gets. And Lambert down there, Brady Kurtz down there. Kurtz obviously has had a great night, whatever. Would have loved to have gone on to win the meeting after his 17 points prior to the final. Still awaiting the confirmation of the result of that photo finish for 2nd place. We know who the 3 podium riders are, but we're still watching replay after replay to sort these 2 out. Lambert on the inside in red, gets the wheel up in the air. The wheel does turn, as Sam says. Brady Kurtz.
Just from that thing, it looks like Kurtz possibly got there with this front wheel being straight to me, but it's so blurred, it's really impossible to be definite, but they're trying.
Brady Kurtz.
Sounds like I just heard an announcement, but we haven't had the official graphics of that yet.
I think we're going to get it. Lambert has got the second. Lambert has got the second. Well done to Lambert. 2nd place. Kurtz in 3rd. And Verina at the back. Well, what a final. What a race. Bartosz Smektala wins here in Güstrow. Robert Lambert snatches 2nd place by the narrowest of margins. Funny enough, that was my first instinct. And then as we watch replay after replay, I started doubting it. So maybe you should always go with your first instinct. Brady Kurtz has been sensational too tonight. He finishes 3rd. Verina at the back. And that's a final race to watch again and again. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, sensational finish to a very challenging night. Weather conditions played big parts. The riders had to go out there and ride in conditions they're not very used to. Some of the riders never even seen this racetrack, and they've gone out there and performed on a 298-meter oval, I would say, in some cases. We've had some drama. Boy, oh boy, have we. And then, when it comes down to the end, what a fabulous final.
So it's a win for Bartosz Smektala in the final, and he is now only 1 point off Maxim Drabik in the series overall. Max Frick is there on 28. Drabik 31, Smektala 30, Frick 28, Brady Kurtz 24, Robert Lambert 24. So it's all to ride for in the next round in the 3rd and final round with 7 points covering the top 5. That is going to be some night in Pardubice. That's going to be very hard to call indeed.
Yeah, it's a shame that Maxim Drabik couldn't finish off his night the way he wanted to. He ended up going away the hardest way, and that's in the ambulance, which we want to wish him all the luck, and hopefully he can come back and still play a part in this championship, and he's okay. but defending is so hard to do. You know, 6-point lead coming into the second round, very difficult to do. Still leading it.
Yep, still leading it. That's still in front.
Yep, that's it. And Smektala, a superb performance to split both Max Frick, that was unbelievably in good form tonight. Failed in the semifinal stages, but still gained tons of points, put them into third overall so far. What a tremendous night of racing. That final just blew me away. They were changing leads left, right, and center. Even come down to we couldn't figure out who was second place, but the Englishman, Robert Lambert, picked that one off. Superb ride from himself. Bradley Kurtz held on to that third position only by the narrowest margins. And you can see all the coverings on the center green. That's what saved us tonight.
Yeah, that saved the meeting. And they had to, and they took it all off around half an hour before the meeting. They pulled it all out from the outside in, and yeah, absolutely no question. I think by about 2 p.m. the meeting would have been called off had there been no covers on this circuit. Practice at Tetro was postponed at around that time, and everyone from there made their way here. But this track has handled it superbly. It's handled the steady drizzle that's come throughout much of the meeting. It really has handled it. And you mentioned the track grades did also do their job.
Yeah, and remember when we were walking into the circuit, we were talking about the conditions of it to Mick Bostlewaite, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I said this track is like an abrasive kind of feeling, and it can handle a little bit of the water and give the riders a little security still. Some tracks, when they get water on them, are near impossible to ride, but this one just kind of got that gritty surface with a little bit of water on it. And the boys now are approaching the podium.
Well, Brady Kurtz is the top scorer of the meeting, so he's had a really good night. He's finished third in a photo finish there with Robert Lambert, but he scored 18 points, and that's 3 more than anybody else managed. So it's been a really great night's work for Brady Kurtz, who only scored 6 in the first round after struggling with injury, but he is now only 7 off the top, and that's the case also for Robert Lambert. So here is Brady being presented with his prize, and that's got himself very much off and running as far as the series overall is concerned. Rode in 2015 and finished 8th overall, and looking to go better than that this year. Second place, a rider who did much of his upbringing in Germany and now making his way on the international stage for Great Britain. Great to see a British rider on the podium. Robert Lambert, second place in Güstrow. What a fine performance by Lambert, and a great tactical ride in the final. Lambert and Brady Kurtz exchanging pleasantries once again, and they'll want to replay that final battle a few times, I think, themselves and indeed Smektala, because that was one of the best races we've seen this season, definitely, with 3 of them in a crucial final. Lots of respect going on there as well, and really was good stuff. So Lambert taking second place, but the winner of the meeting is a man who crashed in his first ride, Bartosz Smektala, way back when, locked up and fell on the second bend of his opening outing, and has worked his way through the meeting and has worked his way up into second place in the standings overall, benefiting from the accidents to Drabik and Frick in the semis. It is Bartosz Smektala, the Polish rider. He is the winner of tonight's meeting. He was the non-riding reserve for Poland in the World Cup at Leszno earlier in the campaign. He's the Polish under-21 champion too. He's got a fine pedigree. Bartosz Smektala, the winner here in Güstrow. Mr. Castagna on his way to present the awards, and very much one of the top men in the sport, and very supportive indeed of the sport at this level. And there is a great deal of talent coming through. You look at what we'll see in Tetro in the Grand Prix tomorrow as the pinnacle of the sport, but there is some very, very good talent coming through, and there's 3 of them on the podium here, and Bartosz Smektala on top. We're about to hear, not for the first time this year, the Polish national anthem. Well done, Bartosz Smektala, winner of round 2 of the EcoDeer FAM World Under-21 Speedway Championship here in Güstrow, joined on the podium by Robert Lambert and Brady Kurtz. Those 3 riders had the mother and father of all battles in the final, and that was the finishing order after a photo finish for second place between Lambert and Kurtz. Celebrations for the top 3 after what's been a really tough night for everyone here in Germany, but as I've said a couple of times, credit to everyone for this meeting going the course in good time as well. And as the stakes were increased as the meeting went on, we saw some absolutely terrific stuff, and none more so than from those 3 in the final.
I gained a heck of a lot of experience, all these guys did towards the end, to be able to battle with the conditions and come out on top. These 3 boys are just growing in stature. There's no doubt about it that they're going to go on to win many, many more races, but there's still a championship to be won here, and I'm sure that Max Fricks will be going away thinking that he's going to have a lot of work to be able to hold on to his championship. He's on, what is he now? He's only what?
28 Frick, 3 off Drabik.
Yeah,
so I suppose he'll take the positive. He's half the gap.
Yep.
That's how things sound then. Drabik on 31, Smektala on 30, Frick on 28, Lambert on 24, and Kurtz on 24. Call a winner from that, Sam, when we head to Pardubice in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah, so nice to see these guys deal with the traffic out there, the conditions and the whole thing. Really good to see. Looking forward to the 3rd round.
Absolutely. Sam, a pleasure as always. Enjoy your input, and you certainly, the boys could learn a lot from you as well, I think, at times with the reading the track. So, yeah, well done to everyone on getting this event on tonight, and well done particularly to the top 3 with Bartosz Smektala, Robert Lambert, and Brady Kurtz, your top 3 here in Güstrow. It's been wet, it's been wild, it's been damp, but we've had a meeting and we had some great racing towards the end, and we've got a real championship on our hands for the final in Pardubice in 3 weeks' time. Hope you enjoyed it here in Güstrow. From me, Dave Rowe, and Sam Malenko, a very good night.
Good night.